Hello and welcome to the Championship Talk podcast. In this episode we're going to be reviewing, as always, the weekend's fixtures, previewing the Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights games. But first let me introduce myself. I'm your host Paul O'Toole, and joined opposite me is my co-host Thomas Falco.
Hello!
So we're going to start off before we get to the news with just what have you been up to? Obviously we've had a 2-week break from the podcast and from Championship football. So what have you been up to?
Work. Work, children, family.
Full stop.
Yeah, that's been good though. I tell Paul some of my tales and we're not going to repeat them on air.
You do. Well,
that's just about home. That's just about home life. Work is even funnier. What about yourself, Paul?
Well, I had a birthday and
33.
33.
Many happy returns.
And obviously you had to. We didn't have to, but you did buy me a present, which I wore Thursday night at football, and it is the Bristol City away shirt. So
third choice, not even the away shirt.
No, it is the third choice. It's the purple with the green stripe. Fantastic. Got a lot of comments. Got a lot of ridicule, but got a lot of comments. I think it's fantastic. I think it's the best shirt in the Championship.
I like how everyone at Five-a-Side thought that was your age. Well, in fact, we both know it is your weight in stone on the back of that shirt.
Absolutely, but obviously, all we had the badges on as well, and it was good. It was good. In terms of sport, so what sport have you watched? Because obviously, we've had sort of a few bits on. So what sport have you watched?
Other than football, and being very upset that the Copa Libertadores has been postponed twice this weekend due to the violence over there.
Did you see that?
Actually, looking forward to that second leg because the first leg was quite intriguing.
2-2 after.
Yes, that was a very, very good first leg, and then obviously the second leg. They're looking tomorrow what can happen with that. Other than football, my big passion is horse racing, as I bore Paul with on a regular basis. And Saturday was the Betfair Chase, the first race en route to the Gold Cup, and a good win by Bristol de Mai, the forgotten horse in the race, even though he won the race by a mile last year. So that's how my weekend's been. Didn't back any winners, usual really, but what about yourself? Change the subject quickly.
I'm this year's NFL, so my missus does comment that it's either got a football pitch on our telly or we've got an NFL grid. So I've watched a lot of NFL. Fantastic game. The Rams against it was so fantastic. I can't even remember who they were. Rams against the Chiefs, and it was 54-51. Fantastic game. One of the best games of American football I've ever seen.
How are your beloved Buccaneers getting on?
Don't like the Buccaneers anymore. I'm a Giants fan. They're just equally as crap. They're 3-8.
Fair weather. I did watch a game yesterday actually, and that went down to the last. There was a field goal at the end. I can't remember who it was though. Team in white against a team in another colour. I think that was the Eagles.
I've got them all on record, right? So the Monday night game last week was the Chiefs against the Rams. That was 3 hours long.
How big's your hard drive? Why don't you just record the highlights?
Because I like to watch the whole thing. But I always record it so I can fast forward all the adverts and obviously the 30 seconds between the plays and stuff like that. So I tend to record it. It took me like 4 days to watch that one game. It's just like... I mean... people have got small attention spans. I know that. It's probably why there's so many breaks and adverts in American football. But it's just crazy. It just baffles me. Did you manage to catch any of the Nations League?
Oh, that's such a serious question.
That is actually a serious question because I did watch quite a bit of the Nations League.
No.
So you didn't watch England against Croatia?
No. Because I forgot that was on at a very early time. that was at 2 o'clock, wasn't it?
That was actually...
I forgot that was that early, so I missed it.
Couple of bits. I think that was a fantastic game, and it was good to see England carry on the success from the World Cup. I think Gareth Southgate's got a buzz around the England national team that hasn't happened probably since Euro 96, and to see them come back against Croatia was fantastic, and it was really good to see. And actually after the first goal I think you kind of knew that England were going to win, so...
And that makes up for losing in the semi-final of the World Cup, of course.
It does.
We all know the Nations League is far more important.
After a year, Croatia finally tired. However, talking of tired, when England play, say for instance it's Liverpool against Man City in the final of the Champions League, which is on a Saturday. Guess when England would actually play their first game of the semi-finals?
Sunday.
No, they play the Wednesday. So if an English team is in the final of the Champions League, their players will potentially, the English players, will be playing within the Nations League 3 days later, which is fantastic.
So, if that's all about promotion and relegation, what happened to the teams who finished bottom of the lower league? Is that like the Scottish Third Division, where the teams never get relegated?
Probably. They take them back and shoot them.
They,
You're done.
that is what my dad used to say. They could improve the London Marathon. They shoot the last person every mile. I would watch it.
Definitely get them going.
But no, I'm just having a look at some of the results here. Fantastic football. You've got Malta 1, the Faroe Isles 1. Very good game. Cyprus 0, Norway 2. The former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia 4, Gibraltar 0. And Liechtenstein 2, Armenia 2. Some brilliant results in there. Absolutely intriguing.
The thing is that there's some teams that haven't won games like ever. And it's good to... No, they're playing against... They are... the effective Czech Conference League One, they are playing with teams of their similar standard, and that adds competition. It will actually boost football in their own leagues. I think the Nations League has been fantastic. I think I was very critical of it to start with, and I'm not just jumping on the bandwagon because England have done well. If you're a fan of San Marino and Luxembourg, I mean, how disheartening is it to watch your team get spanked every single international?
Luxembourg have actually improved over the last few years. I was just looking through the results now. They do pick up points in the qualification stage, don't they?
They do.
I was just looking, actually, a brilliant result for, San Marino, because they only lost 2-0 at home to Belarus. Andorra 0, Latvia 0. I can't really remember Andorra ever winning a game.
No, and they've got a point. So if you're in that country, you're patriotic. I don't know, they've got kids that want to get into football. What incentive have they got?
How big's their pool, do you reckon, of footballers?
It wouldn't be a lot.
12.
Yeah.
They only name one sub.
But they, do you know what I mean? They look into, these nations are only going to grow as that. I mean, you look at Holland. I mean, Holland have got a fantastic history of producing great footballers, but you actually look at the population of Holland, that isn't a lot, and I think it is possible to produce a competitive team. You've got to have the right environment, and I think the Nations Leagues can create that environment, that buzz around a national team winning a few games.
Like it did with Gibraltar. I
was going to say, it hasn't quite worked for Republic of Ireland, but we won't go there.
Oh no, we can go there in a minute, actually, because that links to the Championship.
That does link to the Championship.
I was just looking for the sake of editorial panache. Well, no, it's a phrase. Andorra have won 3 games, actually, as far as I can see. Well, their biggest wins are all 2-0.
What's your deal with Andorra? Why are you...
I just picked on them because I said I don't think they've ever won, and their biggest defeat is 7-0. So that's actually not too bad. Considering some teams have had double digits not past them, but they've beaten Belarus, Albania, and San Marino all 2-0.
So obviously, a couple of the home nations, Scotland didn't do too badly. James Forrest's hat trick. Republic of Ireland obviously did abysmal, and that cost Martin O'Neill's job. Wales have been disappointed under Ryan Giggs, but I want to move on to something that happened in the actual Irish League. It's in the news. It was the horrific assault on referee David Sweeney, who was officiating a game and actually got beaten up in a car park of one of the Irish League's official games. It's prompted them to change their ruling that there'll always be 3 officials, additional security measures. We play Sunday League, we play 5-a-side, and we know it gets heated. You yell and scream at each other. We constantly yell and scream at each other. Mm-hmm. I just think on a football field, this is out of order, and I think this gives football such a bad name. And I think that this is, if you're turning up to football and you're abusing the referee and being, physically assaulting the referee, then one, rightly so, a couple of the players have been banned for 40 years, which is, be interesting. Be 60 by the time they finish playing, by the time the ban ends. Rightly so. Police are obviously, investigating as well, because this is unacceptable. I just think we've both given abuse to referees on Sunday League games, obviously not to this extent.
No, the only person I've given abuse to is a linesman on a Sunday League game.
Yeah, we're not going to go there this time either. But would you ever consider officiating on a Sunday? No, I wouldn't either. But precisely this reason, and I think that's a shame, because we both enjoy football. We both can enjoy football for watching it. And I think that's just an incredible shame that stories like this, and this was quite well publicised, although it was in Republic of Ireland, it was not in a league that people would know too much. It just, we can't watch football without referees, and if people are not going to become referees, because of the fear. You have to work your way up. You have to go through these lower leagues and referee these lower league games and youth teams. It's just ridiculous. And I think that, stories like this are they're abysmal, and I think that the players involved deserve prison sentences for what they've done. And I think this referee, he's gone out to referee a game. It probably isn't very well paid. He probably gets just a nominal match fee or expenses, and ultimately this will put young people off becoming referees. And I think that is incredibly sad, because I think most people have either played some form of Sunday league or lower league football or youth football, and I think it's just incredible. What do you think?
Talk about a light way to start this podcast. That's just bang out of order, isn't it? Really, you can't say anything else other than that. I mean, we all play football for the enjoyment. You can't imagine that Mullingar Town and Horseleap, who were the two teams involved in this game, there was the Mullingar players who caused the injuries to Mr. Sweeney. What can you say other than that's completely and utterly reprehensible? I can't even say the word, really.
See, because I'm now going to link this. It's going to be a continuous league, or whatever you want to call it. There's a referee that refereed a women's game, and he's been suspended for a month because he didn't have a coin on him, and he got them to do rock paper scissors, the two captains, to decide who kicks off. He's been suspended for 3 months. And they've done inquiries. He's been charged with bringing a game into disrepute. And I know that was it's the women's game, but ultimately, if referees are going to be ridiculed for doing something like that, it was a game that was on telly. It was a game that had broadcasting time constraints. He had to start the game, so he came up with the best solution he could at the time. And yes, okay, I get some people's criticism around, would this ever happen in the Premier League? But actually, if it did, no one would care. And I think this referee's now been banned for a month, and you've got referees being beaten up in car parks, and you think, actually, why would you bother? It's ridiculous. I just think there's a lack of. We talk about lack of investment in grassroots football. I think the lack of investment in officiating is also something that's incredibly bad, and I think that's something that frustrates me. And when actually you look at the Championship, or the league we cover, I think standard refereeing this year has been fantastic. Can you remember any bad decisions this year?
Yes, I can, actually, yes.
Other than something that would have been sorted out by VAR. But I just think that just shows why would anyone become a referee, and I think that's a very sad state of affairs. Moving on to, and again, we are going to get to Championship football, I do promise. The Scottish Premier League have announced their TV rights deal. TV rights seem to be the shopping market of choice for broadcasters at the minute. SPL will be going to Sky. It's a 5-year deal worth £160 million from broadcasting SPL rights from 2020. They take over from BT. Sky will bring an end to BT's popular coverage, especially I know Chris Sutton has been a very popular pundit on BT. It'll plough £32 million per season into the SPL teams, and it's an increase of the £21 million deal that they currently represent. It's on par with the record deal made with Santander Sport. The BT's current deal was a lot less than Santander. Not Santander. Setanta, yeah.
Not the bank on the high street. Or indeed the Spanish football team.
But it's Sky's current EFL Premier League coverage, league coverage, we'll go on to in a second. But I know the biggest, listen to Scottish fans on Twitter, I'm reading them on Twitter, their biggest frustration isn't the amount of money, which actually when you compare it to Championships, a lot less per club. So that detail aside, the fans' biggest concern is the poor coverage that Sky have.
Yeah, it's the build-up into 5-10 minutes before the match.
Absolutely.
That's how they used to treat the Championship.
That is. Absolutely.
I remember the Friday night games, the coverage used to start at 7:30, kick off 7:45. They had to cram in 3 adverts in that time. And yeah, that's not fair. I mean, we laugh and joke about Scottish football being not the greatest, but
Eurosport pay £48 million per season for Swedish top flight football. So
that ain't even on Eurosport. That's on that 11 Sport.
it's on currently on Eurosport. It will be going on 11 Sport, but £48 million per season, right? So the Scottish football, where it ranks, it actually ranks below Swedish top 5 football in terms of value.
Of course it does. Bloody hell! I mean, I'd love to watch a game between Helsingborg and Gothenburg.
It's
Paul can't think of any more Swedish
no,
teams.
I can't. No, that's
North or North Copping. That's what
I just think that this. I don't think this deal represents great value from FSPL, and I think it's they're drifting in terms of financial attractiveness. But the fans' biggest concern isn't the money. It's actually the coverage, that they're concerned with how fewer games are actually going to be shown, which I thought was quite interesting as well. And as you say, it's very much around the coverage. And I know we've moaned about the coverage on Quest, and we will do again in this episode. Sky, again, I was critical of the red button and the one camera angle and the one commentator, but actually that's become a bone of contention. And the EFL have voted to agree Sky's deal. However, there are several championship clubs that are definitely not happy with this. There was 7 that met at Villa Park, and obviously there is a precedent for a league to move away from the football league. And they were very adamant they didn't want this deal to happen. And 21 of the 24 championship clubs feel this deal's not value for money. And I know we mentioned the money in previous podcasts, and we've got midweek fixtures coming up where every game is on Sky. And that is great for fans, and I think that's a positive. I think that's a fantastic thing for fans. But obviously in terms of revenue, these clubs are right, they're missing out. And I think this could be an interesting season, because I think if the viewing figures hold strong, the attendances have dwindled ever so slightly. Average attendances are up, but obviously midweek attendances are slightly down. We could be in a position where the championship breaks away.
Yeah, but I was thinking about this, and there could be a very logical one-word answer, and you'll give me a look as if to say idiot, but I'm going to ask it anyway. If they're rejecting the Sky offer and they become part of the Premier League and become Premier League 2, if they've annoyed Sky, where are they going to get the TV deal from?
They're not.
So they're going to be Premier League 2, and they'll have to accept lesser money from a BT or from an 11 Sports. What is the point of
this? Is interesting. I think you're right. I think the Sky are the biggest fish in the pond. As simple as that. 11 Sports, BT Sports, Eurosport. What's the foreign one? Al Jazeera. They've got sport as well,
and BN Sports as well as another one.
And I just personally think that if anything like this is going to happen, it isn't going to happen immediately. They're going to have to build a brand that Sky would want to pay for. But would Sky want to spend £580 million on League 1 and 2 football? So it puts them in an instant negotiating position straight away.
Yeah, I mean, there is a precedent for a lower league becoming a branch of the higher league, isn't there? If that makes sense.
Yes.
Bundesliga and the second Bundesliga as well. I was reading there's a good article on the BBC Sports website about that. I can't remember the breakdown to it because I didn't want to go into too much detail today. But that works out well. The money is not. They don't get a big percentage, but it works out as more than what the clubs would get. I mean, because they were saying going down and finishing bottom of the Premiership, going down to the Championship, you get the money for that season in the thing. They call it the Premiership, the league we shall not mention, and they get the parachute payments as well. Wolves just got $2.5 million for going up.
Yep.
For being the champions. So
for finishing on the points they total they did, and they got their reward was $2.5 million.
Yeah, so you can see why these championship teams want to do it, but who is the movement being led by?
Derby, Leeds.
Greedy Derby and dirty Leeds.
And Villa. And the one just drawing a little bit deeper is actually the one criticism that the Premier League clubs have had from coming down is how disorganised dealing with the EFL is. So obviously they've gone from Richard Scudamore and obviously he's done so good he deserved to get a fantastic payoff. We've already ranted about. He got more money for his payoff than any of the Championship clubs will do for their TV rights this season. But the three clubs that have gone down have actually said dealing with the EFL is really difficult. It's not structured in a good way.
I would like to tenure a bid for the TV rights to Richard Schoonerville for a year. That'd be brilliant. Just sort of following him around. That'd be fantastic.
See what it's going to do.
But no, in all seriousness, this is only going to end in tears. What are they going to set out to achieve? Are they going to try and hold Sky to ransom and get more money out of them for?
I think the one bargaining chip they've got is this midweek red button games. I think the one thing that they can argue is, hold on a minute, why is it just the team that are advertised on telly getting the payment for the TV rights deal and not everyone else? I think that's the one thing they can argue, and I think from my point of view, I don't want the red button thing to disappear.
No.
I think that is a progression of football, and I think we haven't seen a notable drop in attendances. Obviously, the clubs know it from revenue; they'll have spreadsheets and pie charts and all that jazz.
No, but yeah,
but you're not seeing empty stadiums.
No, I mean the only income they're getting from the red button, obviously, as you say, if it's a red button game, they're not getting as much as if that was going to be, or in fact, if anything, the only revenue they're getting from this red button deal that they came up with last season is the money they get from abroad.
Yep.
And I think you'll find that's easier to source games abroad than it is in this country anyway, unless you do illegal streaming, which of course we do not advocate in any way, shape or form.
No, because you are taking money out of clubs that way.
Yeah,
which is...
no, I mean that as well. That's not even a nod, wink, wink thing. The only source of revenue they're getting is people paying their £10 or $10 to watch it from abroad. And if you can watch the games on Sky as part of your package, if you're paying 40, 50 quid, whatever it is, to get your sports package,
why would you pay the £10? Yeah,
so that's not going into the clubs, and that might not make a big difference to a Derby or a Leeds or a Forest or
probably does to a Rotherham.
But yeah, you took words out of my mouth. As it comes to Rotherham or Bolton or Wigan, that is going to make a difference.
Especially like teams like Rotherham and Brentford that have got a very low a very low capacity stadium. Where even a full house doesn't generate half of what Leeds, or the 3 games for Rotherham is Phil's Ellen Road, so you kind of got to look at that and take that into account. I just think this is an interesting time for the Championship because as a product I don't think it's ever been as marketable, and I think the clubs have realised this. They also realise that only 3 of them are going to go up to the promised land. So the rest of them are going to be left in the wilderness. And when you actually look at some of the big teams that are in the wilderness, it's a very, very competitive league. Obviously, I follow Arsenal, and you're looking at 6 teams that are playing well. Everyone else is just beating each other. It's no way competitive. It's not as competitive as the Championship.
No.
It's not as entertaining either by a country mile. I just think it's very... Clubs realise their own worth, which makes it frustrating for them when they're basically being given away for free on the red button. Now, that is very good for fans, not very good for revenue streams, and actually if you want the product to get better, the revenue streams do need to increase. So that's an interesting we want to watch, and I thought it was a good segue from the SPL, because I think the SPL's the Scottish contingent didn't care about the money. The money didn't even come into it. From any of the tweets I read, they didn't care about the money, whereas the EFL very much focused around the money. For the SPL, it's more around the how poor the coverage is
on Sky compared to BT. Yeah,
and especially the commentators. And I think that's interesting, because I think that I think Sky have got a good balance with the Championship this season. I think they've got some quite young commentators and pundits that I quite like, and I also just think they just need to sort out their highlights package. That's the only thing Sky need to do, sort out that flipping highlights package and jingly music.
And the constant mistakes they make as well. But yeah,
there's definitely a few of them.
And whatever happened to Peter Beagrie? No, we're not getting to that, because I found out the other day, and that's an unsavoury case. Can I just make 3 very quick points?
Absolutely, go on.
We alluded to it, and these are very quick points, mate. 2 of them don't affect the Championship necessarily, but important to say for the sake of football. First one, congratulations to Mick McCarthy becoming the manager of the Republic of Ireland until
2 years
after Euro 2020.
And then the Dundalk manager.
But at least he knows where he stands. Is it Stephen Kenny?
Yeah, he's going to be their under-21 manager.
Yeah, and then that's a good way of sort of having that progression now.
I mean, they've just copied it from England.
Yeah, but still, that's a good thing. I also want to say, get well soon to Gianluca Vialli. I don't know if you've seen this, that he says he's
been diagnosed with cancer.
He's been fighting a battle with cancer for the last year, I think. So hopefully he pulls through the other side and we see him back in the game. He's not been a manager for years, but he's still involved in the game as a pundit, and very good player, very good manager. with Chelsea as well. With Chelsea, not so good with Watford, but that's beside the point. Get well soon, Gianluca. And also I mentioned the retirement of Leon Barnett, who has played for West Brom, Norwich and Wigan. He's only 32 years old. He is at Northampton Town. He's had to retire at the age of 32 because of a heart condition. He said his heart rate was almost 300 beats a minute during his final game before he was forced to retire.
That's me walking up a flight of stairs.
No, we shouldn't. We should not sort of laugh. There's been a lot. Thankfully, footballers, well,
they're well looked after now. I mean, Fabrice
they are well looked
Mwamba
after.
and all that happened with him.
Yeah, I mean, we've lost players on the pitch such as Mark Vivian Fairway and Miklos Ferrer. He played for Benfica. That's a very harrowing thing.
There was a young kid in that Ajax.
He suffered permanent brain damage, and the club said that they could have acted quicker and maybe lessened that. That's absolutely horrible. But thankfully, he's retired in one piece. Sadly, he had to retire at all, but he's retired in one piece, picked up by the medical team, and we wish him a happy retirement and for him to be well, basically.
Absolutely, I think the medical, the way these footballers are looked after now is come a long way from the days, as you say, when this stuff wouldn't have been picked up. So that concludes part one. In part two, we're going to be reviewing the first round of fixtures, and we're going to start with poor old Ipswich Town losing to West Brom. We shall see you in part two. Welcome back to part two of the Championship Talk podcast. We're going to start with the Friday night game. Ipswich Town 1, West Brom 2. And I want to start with, first of all, Portman Road's biggest attendance, 22,995, which was by a long way more than what they have been getting. And it was a really, really good game, I thought.
Yeah, that weren't bad, considering the gulf in points and perceived class between the two.
I think in salary bills, I think you would see a notable step up in West Brom's salary bill. But in terms of the match highlights, early on, Hegazi had a volley inside the area. He made an incredible mess of this. He tries to jump, volley it, and it ends up going out for nearly a throw-in. It was a good move from West Brom. It headed down to him, and he kind of jumped, tried to do a Di Canio, side on, absolutely sliced it. Fantastic.
You said it was Hegazi.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when centre backs get in the penalty area.
True, but it was quite funny. I just think he forgot he was crap. It just was rubbish. But Jay Rodriguez is not rubbish, and on 26 minutes. Great cross from the right, headed back across goal, then a tap in. This was a really good move, really quick. But did you see the bit before Gibbs crossed it? The player on the left crossed it in first. His cross was that bad, it ended up at Gibbs on the other wing.
That was the other way around, weren't it? Gibbs crossed it across the penalty area, and that went across to the other side. I think that was Phillips who picked it up.
And then it come back and Gibbs headed it.
And then Phillips played it deep across to Gibbs. But I wouldn't say the cross was that bad. I'd say the defending and the urgency to win the ball was quite poor. It wasn't a quick
cross. It seemed to roll across the 18-yard box.
And that was a weakness, because there were a couple of moments in the game where that happened again. There was no urgency to get to that ball and to snuff out that attack. That was an excellent ball back in. I think that was Phillips. I couldn't make out who it was, and the commentator just went, blip, and you couldn't work out who he was saying. I think that was Phillips. Got it back in, nice and deep. Gibbs headed it into the 6-yard box, and Rodriguez just dispatched it, didn't he?
He got there again. You would expect him. He got there before the defender. It looked a good move from the as you say, the cross from Phillips. It was just that ball across. I mean, Ipswich Town were defending that deep. A ball across their 18-yard box, and there were 4 players on the 6-yard line. Now Gibbs weren't that far advanced to play. It was just Ipswich Town were really defending deep, and it just made me laugh when you watched the whole goal. It added a little bit less shine on it.
And the thing going into that as well is, you think Gibbs was able to a fullback? He's a right back. Is he right back or left back?
Left back.
A left back was allowed to stay in the 6-yard box
and headed the ball back across goal.
Considering they had 4 men on the 6-yard line.
I don't know. Gibbs has scored 2 goals this season. He's
poor.
He's been deadly.
he's a decent enough player, but no fullback should be
for
allowed
Arsenal.
no fullback should be able to spend that much time in an opposing penalty area.
I make you right on that one. I think that was it's just an interesting goal. But obviously, Jay Rodriguez is a predator at this level, and I think he's going to score a lot more to come. West Brom should have had a penalty from a corner. I reckon the Ipswich Town defender could play fly half for Harlequins, because this tackle was he gets him round the midriff, pins him to the floor. I mean, he forgets what football he's playing.
That's the passion that's lacked at Portman Road so far this season. That's what you want to see.
That was a good fly half tackle.
If you can get away with it, so be it. He probably thought he was playing at the DW Stadium or whatever.
It's bad when a defender gets up. He gets up so fast, not to look at the ball, not to look if the players are right, but to see what the referee's doing. You know he's done something naughty. Right, great move from West Brom down the right. Good ball in. There was a save at near post by Blaszczykowski, who I actually thought played well.
Blaszczykowski? What do you mean, the one who plays fullback for Borussia Dortmund?
No, Blaszczykowski.
Bartosz Białkowski.
Yeah, that one. Gesundheit. It was he had a good save at his near post. Then Rodriguez missed a poor. I mean, he should have buried this 1-on-1. Białkowski saves with his legs. Rodriguez should have scored this. The goalkeeper had to make some really, really good saves, and then he nearly spills one from across. This basically sums up his season, doesn't it? He's made a couple of good saves. He's kept Ipswich in the game, and then he goes for a cross. He's overreaching, and he lets go of the ball. And
Ipswich are not blessed with the most confident of goalkeepers, are they? Really, they've got him and Gherkin.
Yeah, you do feel for Lambert, really, don't you? Harvey Barnes on 77 minutes. Now, this goal was... I felt a little bit for Ipswich, because obviously they were pushing to get an equaliser. So on 77 minutes. However, from their own corner, Matt Phillips runs the entire length of the pitch. And not just the entire length of the pitch, he then runs in to the 18-yard box.
He's able to cut in from the left, isn't he?
Passes it to Harvey Barnes, who's his feet are just way too quick for the Ipswich Town defender. He shifts the ball to his left foot and then absolutely buries it in the goalkeeper's near post. Now, being harsh, you say Białkowski should save this. Actually, Matty Phillips shouldn't run that far. Someone should run over. No, where was the fly half?
I feel sorry for Białkowski, because he actually got a hand to that, didn't he?
He did.
Got a slight touch to it, and that's the most frustrating thing as a goalkeeper, because you think you could save it, but he hit that so hard in the corner.
And you see him smash the ground. He knew he's angry, a bit like, he's got a hand to it. He's frustrated, but
I don't think any keeper saved that, to be perfectly honest with you, man.
It just why did no one just run over and kick him into the stands? I mean, it's 77 minutes. Give away a free kick on a halfway line. Give away a free kick halfway inside your own half. Give away a free kick on the edge of the box. Just don't let him pass to an unmarked Harvey Barnes.
No, especially him with his wand of a foot.
And then we get to Caden Jackson. This goal was fantastic. 85 minutes. The defender gets the assist for an absolute sliced clearance right to Jackson on the penalty spot. So the defender's standing on the 18.
Who was the defender, Paul? Just enlighten us.
The guy.
Adebayo.
Tozin.
Bless you.
He goes to absolutely, you don't want him hoof Stanfield. That's what he's trying to do. And he slices it with so much backspin? Topspin?
Just
sliced it. Anyway, the ball spinning.
Me.
Caden Jackson had all the time in the world just to pick his spot. He'll never score an easier goal than this. And actually, he actually played quite well when he came on. Ipswich Town went really close late on. This was a good game, and I actually think it was more even than I thought it was going to be. And early in the season where we said, "Oh, Preston North End, they're in a false position because we can see signs of life." I could see signs of life in Ipswich here.
No, but possibly with the way they played and they ended the game, but
they got to defend better.
They lack the quality that Preston have. So that's going to be harder for them to get out of that position. I think over the course of the next 28 games... Is it 28? Yeah, that is 28 games. I think they can possibly make a real fight of it. That's going to be close. I don't think they're dead and buried already. They are going to pick up wins and results, but it's going to be hard for them. They're only 6 points adrift, granted, but worse goal difference, and it's going to be hard, put it that way.
I just think they under Paul Lambert the last couple of games...
Oh yeah, there's
signs of life there.
There's definitely something there.
They were dead and buried before.
That depends what he can do in January. There are a few quality players short. If they can maybe strengthen with another defender and probably someone in midfield, I think maybe...
The one thing I noticed from their squad, and this was just a striking observation, is obviously got Chalobah. A lot of their players, they bought in younger, lower league players. They brought them in. Whereas I think when you look at a lot of the teams around the Championship, a lot of them loaned a lot of players in. So I do wonder whether the chairman's playing a little bit of asset recuperation. So he's trying to he's building up player assets, and Ipswich have been a selling club.
I think they took a risk, and that's backfired for them. I thought maybe they could cut their cloth accordingly, a bit like Norwich do, bring in cheaper alternatives.
Yep.
Consolidate, maybe develop
Lower
them over
wages.
the next couple of years and sell them on at a profit and then do it like that. But the players they've brought in, no offence to them, are just not ready for this level at this moment in time. It's not to say they won't be in time.
They have got some good players. Goyan Edwards, I say Caden Jackson looked good. Is it Roberts?
Roberts is another one. Yeah. Roberts is another one as well.
Obviously, Andre Dazelle that came through their youth academy. He's had a couple of bad injuries.
Son of the Spurs legend, Jason.
He is. I just think that there were signs of life here, and I think it's just when you look at it, they've got quite a young squad as well, which is interesting. So in terms of stats, Ipswich actually had more possession. They had 12 shots and 2 on target. To West Brom's 13 shots, 3 on target. Pretty even game actually, probably more even than I would have expected going into it, but ultimately West Brom's class showed here, and they got the expected win. I think it was harder than they probably thought it was going to be. Did you have what the managers said?
Yeah, Paul Lambert said, I thought in the first half we were a little bit tentative. You look at their bench, they've got guys that have actually won the Premier League coming on, and we've got young academy kids making a name for themselves. I said to the lads, sometimes people say the table doesn't lie. Well, it does lie at times, so very much saying what you said earlier on. Darren Moore said, I thought it was an excellent away day performance. I thought we dominated the game once it settled down after 10 or 15 minutes, and we created chances. We scored 2 goals. I think we could have got more. I said to the boys that Paul Lambert's got this team in the ascendancy. They won't be where they are for much longer because they work hard, they press, and they're an honest team. So, very positive on Ipswich, but they've still got to transfer these good performances to wins. And until I see that, hopefully that comes sooner rather than later, because we're both local to the area, so we want Ipswich to be doing well.
Oh yeah, I think that 22,000 at Portman Road. I mean, you don't want to be seeing them in League One, because I don't think they'd get out of League One. That will be a future podcast. So we're going to move on to Reading 2, Sheffield United 2. Now, since we mentioned Reading's away, Rotherham 2, Sheffield United 2. Since we mentioned Rotherham's poor away form, I don't think they've lost a game, home or away. Which is you look at the squad and they're doing fantastically well. And I think they've got a really good manager, and they're a fantastically well supported club. They were on top early on here. Rotherham were the better team early on. Mark Duffy scored in 8 minutes though for Sheffield United.
Oh, what a lovely goal! What do you think about this goal?
All I put is I love this goal. And I can't remember what it was.
Well, I've got to try and read this because Kingsley, my oldest son, decided to scribble on my notes.
I just thought your handwriting was really bad.
No, he scribbled all over them. I'll put here, Stevens received the ball midway inside his own half, plays it centrally to Duffy, who charges into the box, cleverly allows the defender to commit to a tackle, then uses him as a shield to place past Rodak from 8 yards. I think this was lovely. The pundit said he was wasting time, or he was taking too much time, but he knew what he was doing. He saw that defender was going to dive in and waited.
Well, he actually dummied 3 defenders, because there were 2 that were running in, and the little feint he does takes 3 Rotherham defenders out with one move, and they all move in the same position. Fantastic. This was a really good goal, this was.
That was, and he's a quality player who, I believe he's the one who's come back from injury, isn't he? So it's good to see him back and playing well.
Henderson made some great saves, one from a header. Then there was a goalmouth scramble that was cleared off the line by Rotherham. Then Henderson made another reflex save, and this was a really good save. He never saw this ball coming. This literally just like pinged at him through a crowd of players, and he just gets a hand up and manages to push us over the bar. Then John Taylor on 66 minutes, a deflected shot from the edge of the box. Henderson could do nothing about this, and after all the good saves that he'd made, it was just a shame that it took a deflected goal to score past him, but it was probably going to be the only thing that was going to score past him. So you can't really say much about that. But you get a ticket, you're in the lottery, and that's what John Taylor did.
Going back to the first goal, I want to apologise. Duffy's not the one who come back from long-term injury. It is Coots. I apologise, but that was a good goal. That come off the stomach of Basham, I think, didn't it? That was the deflection. Very unfortunate, but that's what it takes.
It is, and you got to take. If you don't take shots, you don't have the chance of scoring.
As you said.
Henderson then made another great save from a header. This was more one for the cameras, though. I think he probably could have caught this. Then Chris Basham on 85 minutes.
Oh, what a goal! What a lovely goal!
Rodak comes for this. The ball gets crossed in. He comes for it. He is never in a million years going to get a fingertip, catch.
Do you know who crossed this ball in?
No, because I know it come off the back of Freeman's head.
Billy Sharp.
Really?
Yeah, you look stunned. That was Billy Sharp.
It was more than 6 yards from goal.
That's what I mean. He was getting nosebleeds. This was fantastic because you watch the slow mo. Freeman and Basham jump together. Freeman jumps in front of Basham. That hits the back of Freeman's head and ricochets onto Basham's forehead and goes in. So, technically, if you want to be arsey about it, Freeman took the assist away from Sharp because he set up his teammate.
The other thing is while all that's going on, Rodak is laying on the floor because he's come for a cross he's never going to get in a million years. So even Rodak missed it. And then Jamie Proctor, I think this goal was very deserved, but this was very poor defending.
Oh, yeah.
Really just going to leave Proctor unmarked and then just a deflected shot. I really felt for Henderson here, and then when he got up from the ball goes in, he dives to his right, not going to get there. When he gets up, he goes absolutely skits at his defence. He goes bananas, and I think he actually got man of the match in this game. This was the game that was on Sky.
What was the game?
He got man of the match and did nothing wrong but conceded 2 goals. The life of a goalkeeper, eh?
I'm trying to think if this was the game
This was at 12:30 on Saturday.
No. That wasn't the game. That comes much later on. Sky are fantastic with their editing. But no, that was poor defending, weren't it? That was really poor defending. That could have been
defenders,
dealt with twice. 2
defenders go for the same ball. Neither of them actually hit it. Jamie Proctor's just got time to control it and then just buries it.
Yeah.
And as I say, I wouldn't have wanted him to be in that dressing room. Even when Henderson was getting his man of the match award, you could tell he wasn't a happy bunny. 11,000 at New York Stadium here to watch this game, and they saw a fantastic game. Now, have you got the stats up? Don't look.
No, I haven't got the stats.
How many shots do you think Rotherham had in this game?
I felt like about 11.
26 shots Rotherham had.
What in total?
8 on target.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were on target. Sorry.
Sheffield United had 6 shots, 4 on target. I would not have given you good odds that was going to be the case, and Rotherham were going to have looked at the better team here. And the fact that Henderson was man of the match just shows kind of what he had to deal with. Have you got what Paul Warne and Chris Wilder said?
Yes, Paul Warne said their goalkeeper was man of the match, which speaks volumes. At 2-1, it was a bit harsh on us. The lads don't give up. If it's only a 1-goal deficit, you're still in the game. To get the equaliser late on made it feel like a win for us. We caused them problems. If we had lost the game 2-1, I would have still been hugely proud of their performance. We deserved the draw, and the lads will take a lot of confidence from it. It feels like a mini-win. I love Paul Warne. He's so positive. And
he is always positive.
With Neil Harris later on, complete polar opposite. Chris Wilder said, apart from the goalkeeper, I could have made any changes. We changed the shape about 3 or 4 times. We could have pulled anyone off at any given time. But we managed to find ourselves 2-1 up. This is our weekly lose at the moment. Their performance was very, very poor, but I need to compliment the opposition manager and their players. If I was in their changing room not getting the win, I would be disappointed. They won more first and second balls. We thought that maybe we just could stroll in here and it would be a pretty easy afternoon. Our goalkeeper has kept us in the game. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. He produced loads of good moments for us, so they better try and get the chequebook out and get him from Manchester United, 'cause I think he's on loan.
He is on loan. Millwall 1, Bolton Wanderers 1. Was this the game that was delayed? There was a game that had referee problems. Was this the game that was delayed? I think it may have been the Forest game, actually.
No, that wasn't the Forest game, definitely. Leave that with me and I'll find it.
Yeah, there was a game that was delayed for referee problems. Anyway, so... First of all, I know there's a bit dead air there because I'm just reading my notes. I'm just trying to compose myself here. The one-on-one here. Now, this was early on in the game. The Bolton players running through on goal. Archer makes a great save with his legs. The rebound, then Archer makes probably one of the best saves I've ever seen.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
He's standing up to get a reflex hand to the ball to push it over. The power to get the shot was hit with some force. So the shot was hit and absolutely, it took a strong hand to not have this go in. But he's standing up as he's doing it, whereas you mostly see goalkeepers make saves as they're going down. So he's getting off the floor as he's saving. It just struck me as a good piece, a really athletic save. Mark Beavers then on 12 minutes though did score for Bolton, unmarked from across. The keeper didn't even move. Having made two great saves, he's just thinking, "Wow, if you're going to defend like this, I'm just not going to bother." This was all Bolton. Even I think it was Bianca Westwood on Sky.
Don't get me started on her.
Even she had to say that Bolton just had most of this game, and the minute she said that, you just knew Millwall were going to score.
She's a no.
There was a big goalmouth scramble, leading to the ball being headed over the bar from a Bolton player. Jack Cooper, though, did equalise on 82 minutes, a right-footed shot. Bolton, for how good they were, you just knew they weren't going to keep a clean sheet.
No.
I just think that was the only thing. And again, for all of the praise that they were getting, you just knew they were gonna let a goal in.
Just to put icing on the cake for this one, you are right. This was the game. The initial referee Tony Harrington pulled out before the game through illness. He was replaced by Lee Swaby, I can't say that name. Swaby was forced off of a calf injury midway through the first half. The game was halted for 5 minutes as a
Millwall fan stepped in.
A Millwall fan was on the line, yes.
And he would have been the fourth official, and this was the game. He'd been the fourth official, so he was on the touchline. Now, if you're a fourth, the last thing you want to do as a fourth, actually, I don't think he was a Millwall. I think he was a Bolton fan. Actually, the last thing you want to do is
no, he was a Millwall fan, and he's a referee who is normally a referee in the South Eastern Premier League.
When he was on the line as the fourth official, not the linesman, but as the fourth official, Millwall had a shot that he jumped up for, like he was celebrating like a fan. 10 minutes later, he's running the line, and I've got to say, I know we've talked about referees, and it was probably this game that prompted me to have this discussion around referees. You cannot fault his integrity. Even though he's a fan of Millwall, he officiated with no faults whatsoever. And I thought that was fantastic. I just thought, to have a referee go out injured, to call in sick, as any manager would know of humans, that's the worst thing that ever can happen. You then get your backup referee who's running the line, who was going to be running the line, now's the referee, pull a calf, and you just can't help but think, wow, this was amazing. I think this game actually went on for about 10 minutes after it was supposed to, which I thought was really, really good. There was just a low-driven shot at the end from Millwall, so they could have actually nabbed all 3 points. Millwall had 13 shots, 5 on target. Bolton had 9 shots, 4 on target. But as I say, Bolton did look miles the better team here. Have you got what Neil Harris and Phil Parkinson said?
Yep, Neil Harris said, "We didn't look Millwall-like at the Den and at them. Up and at them, 100%. We were 5% off, so 95%. I said at half-time that it's about finding a different way, being brave with the ball, being brave without the ball, and using the ball a lot more on the floor. I thought we had some excellent passages of play second half, scored relatively late in the game, and got into some really good areas. For me, summing it up, it's definitely a point gained." Phil Parkinson said, "We have not had the greatest points return in recent weeks, but I thought the lads played very, very well. Before we scored, we should have had a penalty. You've got to see it to believe how we didn't get the penalty. All in all, it's a good day's work for us. We would have loved to have had taken all 3 points, but in terms of the way we played, I've got to be very pleased." That stops the rot, really, doesn't it? Really,
it does.
For Bolton, that's now they've won 2
slipped
points out of
into
their
the
possible
bottom
last
three.
18. So, yeah, stops the rot as such. They should be, well, so they should be high. If it wasn't for their early season form, they would be lower than Ipswich, probably, wouldn't they? So it's quite scary to think how far they've fallen.
Hull 0, Forest 2.
Yeah,
And there was
proper football.
now you might be able to. Have you got the attendance for this game?
Yep, it is 13,364.
I'm glad of that because the paper I was reading had it as 3,000, and I know from the highlights there was more than 3,000 in the game. Anyway, the Forest were nearly undone early on by a corner. No surprise there. Basically, before 61 minutes, no one was allowed to shoot inside the penalty area. They were very gentlemanly, very gentlemanly run game. It was very, I don't know, it was just pedestrian until Lewis Grabham. There was a sliced clearance that goes backwards, and I don't even think even he could do that again. The defender that slices his clearance, I don't think he physically could do that again if he tried.
Seeing how he's been the last few weeks, I bet he could. I really bet he could.
Then Grabham ain't going to miss from 6 yards. I mean, that's the one thing you can guarantee. He's never going to miss from 6 yards.
Fox in the box.
However, then once he's buried this ball in, the defender for Hull,
The same defender who sliced the clearance.
he's obviously annoyed with himself, isn't he? Smashes the ball into Grabham, who goes down like he's been shot. Now, I just think if he's in the penalty area and he feels contact, he goes down whether he's celebrating for a goal or not.
No, the most ironic thing with that is the bloke went to clear it, hit the player accidentally, and the ball ended up in the back of the net again. So it just goes to show that wherever Grabham is on the pitch, he can put it in the back of the net.
He stayed down. He stayed down like he was injured.
That was probably a shock. He weren't braced for it. Those are the ones that hurt the most, mate. I'm not saying that's us Forest. Those are the worst ones. But going back to the goal, the Vise, that was awful. That was really bad. And what I can't get was it the first goal or the second goal? That was the one that was played out to Lolly. That was a shot. That was a daisy cutter shot. That was so weak.
And he goes to clear it.
And he went to hoof it and completely sliced it. And Grabham done really well to nutmeg Marshall as well, to be fair.
Who played well.
Yeah.
Marshall played well.
Yeah, I mean, that was his
most games,
initial save from Lolly's... from Matty Cash's shot, that was. And do you want to move on to the second goal? Is that any other highlight of the game?
It is any other highlight of the game. Joe Lolly, 64 minutes. So 3 minutes later, a good 1-2. And a deflected shot, and the goalkeeper had no chance.
Yeah. Who did the shot deflect off? The same defender who sliced the clearance,
Yeah,
Jordi
you gotta
Device.
feel
What was
for
his
him.
What was his newspaper rating for this game?
Do you know? I don't know, but I don't think he looked.
That must have been a 4, surely. But no, Wayne, that's not your day. That's not your day.
Forest had 15 shots, 6 on target. Poor old Hull had 7 shots, 1 on target. This, to be honest, it's tough going against Forest. You know you're not going to get many chances. Forest have actually become fit. The last couple of games you've actually dominated possession, which is interesting as well. You're not conceding many. And I just think that it was interesting that the one decent Hull attempt was from a corner still. That does, you've got to be worried. But with obviously Fraser Campbell and Chris Martin, they're never really going to be too deadly from the air, are they? But yeah, the highlight of this was Grabham and falling over in the penalty area while celebrating. Have you got what Nigel Atkinson and Cranker said?
Nigel Atkinson, yep, he said, we gifted... That's a running joke on this podcast. Nigel Atkins said, we gifted them the opportunity to win the game and they have gone and capitalised on that. It's very frustrating. It's another shocking goal from an individual mistake and then they get a deflection for the second. It was very disappointing and in the final hour we were nowhere near where we needed to be, but you've got to give Forest credit as they passed the ball well.
Leeds 2.
Well, that's what Aitor Karanka said yet.
Oh, he said something boring.
He said the most cliche thing in football. I'm over the moon. I'm very happy. We had lots of chances and we were really confident on the pitch. But as I told them at half time, we needed to be a bit more clinical and ambitious. We want to keep growing, and with this quality on the pitch, we can do nice things.
Oh. Leeds 2, Bristol City 0. Bristol City wore my shirt. Nice of them. Did you see Patrick Bamford's training goal?
No.
Right, so he volleys it. He scores a fantastic goal. It's actually on YouTube. He scores this fantastic goal. It looks like they're doing some sort of set piece drill. Bamford scores a fantastic goal. Bielsa runs over and hugs him after he scores in training.
So he can't be too far off come back from injury then?
No, not with that goal. I'd urge anyone that hasn't seek this out to see it. And more for Bielsa's reaction after. And I don't even think Bielsa's involved in the training session. He just sees it and he just runs over and just hugs Bamford. You think they've just scored the winning goal in a World Cup? It's like they're on this training field and there's no one else about. That just tickled me. This game, for all of what it could have been, actually was a bit dull. There was just long range shots early on, nothing troubling either goalkeeper. Leeds went close, but the effort just had too much spin on the ball. Brownhill got a second yellow, but this could have been a straight red, to be honest. I think he's got a holiday planned.
Yeah, for his foul, I watched the Sky highlights for his foul on Alowiski, who has become Kamar Roof, apparently, according to Sky. That was definitely Kamar Roof on the floor. Number 7 for Leeds United. Good to see him get his comeuppance, but didn't do him any harm because he went on to do something else.
He did. I just think if you're on a yellow card and you make a challenge like this, you've either made plans for the midweek and don't want to play, or your head's gone.
You're stupid.
Yeah, because the challenge was definitely going to get a yellow. I mean, he's going to get sent off regardless, but it could have been easily a straight red. It was dangerous play, and don't do that. Leeds stepped it up in the second half.
I can imagine Lee Johnson said it to him as he got off the pitch.
What are you doing?
Don't do that.
Leeds stepped it up though when Bristol City went down to 10 men. Kind of Leeds, really sort of put their foot on the gas. Then Carmel Roof from Pablo Hernandez. Roof's just the poacher that. This was a goal that Billy Sharp would have been proud of. It's from that 6 yards.
What I thought was quite ironic is the first thing he done after he scored was check to see if the linesman had put his flag up.
Well, he does that now.
The sign of a cheat.
Just in case he's accidentally handballed it.
The sign of a dirty cheat.
But this was a good poacher's goal, and I just think had Roof been fit most of the season, it would have been interesting to see how Leeds would have fared, and I know that they're third.
He would have had more of a hand in their goals, wouldn't he?
He would have had more of a hand in their goals. However, another player that was injured and again Leeds missed was Pablo Hernandez. What a ball from! The header was top corner. The header had that much power on it. It was like a shot, and it was so guided in. The ball from Saiz though was just fantastic. Anything more to add about that goal?
No, I think that was Saiz, wasn't it?
That was Saiz.
Sorry, Saiz. I keep saying Saiz. Sorry.
Bristol City only 1 shot on target this game. To Leeds' 6 shots on target, 20 overall. It's being a tough season for Lee Johnson's men.
Yeah.
And I could find no manager comments.
No, Marcelo Bielsa said it's a point of view that we have to respect, but we virtually didn't concede any chances for our opponent. As far as I know, I don't remember anything of note that they created. It was a very comfortable debut for our goalkeeper. I wanted to highlight this. I've made a list, thanks to Sky Sports' lovely coverage. Well, they're probably not right, they got
Will
half the names
Huffer.
wrong. Yes, Mr. Huffer was in goal, and his cousin, Mr. Puffer, was the sub-goalkeeper, I think. On the bench, on the injury list is Peacock Farrell, Blackman, Jamal Blackman, I think, is another goalkeeper.
He is, I think.
Janssen, Mr. Sweary Man, Berardi, Ayling, Bamford and Brown, all on the injury list. All, apart from the 2 goalkeepers, because one would be and the other one would be sub. They're all regular first teamers.
Now, we know about Bielsa's training techniques. Are we going to... Is there a correlation between the number of players that Leeds have had out injured? And I would say it's a higher proportion than some of these other clubs, and Bielsa's 2-3 training sessions.
Yeah, that does seem like a bit of a
and the reason
ongoing thing, doesn't it? The same, probably the same correlation as why many of the Derby players always seem to have wrist injuries.
Move on. We're moving on. 34,000 at Ellen Roads. We're moving on to Preston 4, Blackburn 1. Barkhausen on 2 minutes. This annoys me because I actually thought this game would be a draw, and I thought Blackburn would try and make a game of it, but they just capitulated very, very easily. Barkhausen, a great move down the left, pass and move. They kept it on the deck. the ball was Preston just really can play a bit, can't they?
They can, yeah.
And
they said weeks ago they're in a false position,
Yep,
and they've proved that's right. They are one of the form teams.
On 10 minutes, Callum Robertson on the shoulder of the last defender, great pass to him. Little deft finish to the keeper's left. Keeper doesn't even move. He's going to be quite sought after in January.
Yeah, they'll do very well to hold on to him.
I just think that he's one of them players that you probably, a bit like Tom Ince, he's a bit an unknown quality. Obviously, we're going to be an unknown quantity in the Premier League, but I think there'll be not quite a few people willing to take a punt on him. Mm-hmm. If not a team looking to get into the playoffs.
Name and no names. Huddersfield.
Now, the thing is, we're not trying to asset strip Preston. It's just he's a player that's standing out for all the right reasons.
If he comes to Forest, we are. But we don't need another midfielder / attacker type. So
now, I've written something that I've never written before. I think Rudd played well in this game.
Bloody hell.
He made a great save from a header from a free kick. Then he made another one with a good save with his legs. Rudd could do nothing about Danny Graham's goal.
Oh no! But
headed across as him.
His attitude that's either a punishment for Maxwell for getting sent off. Was a bit mad what he done to get sent off.
He deserved to get punished from someone.
Or it could be the attitude that Rudd has shown since he's been back in the first team has actually earned him his place in the squad, which you'd like to think, because he is a quality goalkeeper when he's on form.
As I say, he played really well here, and this game, even at 3-1, could have gone either way. Lewis Morton, 74 minutes. This was a scrappy goal, but it did change the game, and I think Blackburn will be disappointed with this. And the fact, I think Blackburn were pushing forward. This goal was nothing really to write home about, but I think this was the goal that really did turn the tide in Preston's favour, because I think Blackburn had a lot of the possession, and they were really coming to the game before this goal, and this against the run of play. Alan Brown then on 85 minutes, he just crossed in. He was unmarked though, but on 85 minutes Blackburn were really pushing forward. There was only 3 defenders. I think they're on half. And he just volleyed it into the ground and it went over the keeper. Nothing really much Raya could do about this goal. 19,000 people at Deepdale to watch this, and Preston 15 shots, 5 on target to Blackburn's 11 shots, 6 on target. This was a good game, this was.
That certainly was, and I'm not surprised with the outcome, just surprised with the gap in between the two, to be honest with you.
I noticed this game was on your acca.
Yes, I really did fancy Preston. The one who let me down was bloody Millwall, weren't it? Of all the teams who could let me down. Unbelievable weekend. Anyway, moving on to what the managers say, because, Alex Neil said it was a good performance. We started well, got a 2-0 lead, created some great chances and finished our chances. We were aggressive, wanted to win and fully deserved it. Tony Mowbray said much of our defending was uncharacteristic. There was also some individual errors. Collectively, we played too deep and invited trouble. Then at 3-1, we have a perfectly good goal ruled out for offside against Dak, who is clearly onside, and that is frustrating. But let's not look too deeply at this. We have lost 4-1 to a rival, and we know we have to do better than this in the upcoming games. It is as simple as that.
It is. So that concludes part 2, and in part 3 we've got another 6 games to go, so we shall see you in part 3. Welcome back to part 3, and we're going to be looking at Sheffield Wednesday 1, Derby 2, and Thomas is actually going to be objective about Derby for once, if that is possible.
I'm a pro.
You are a pro, being an arse. Sheffield Wednesday had the best of the opening exchanges. Yao went close early on, and actually really did go close. He beat two defenders. However, Adam Reach actually got them off the mark. Him and Barry Bannon they're good.
They're a nice double act. They're like Paul and Barry Chuckle, aren't they? Hale and Pace.
They just seem to be able to pass to each other. The problem is Sheffield Wednesday have got players that struggle to play football, let alone play with Barry Bannon and Adam Reach. But this was goal. This was total football. Barry Bannon hits it to the old Ajax, gets it to the corner of the 18-yard box, and Adam Reach just plays a...
Ajax, that's not total football. Ajax would have done 26 passes to get it from A to B, not hoof at 40 yards up to the corner. You're talking about Graham Taylor football.
Maybe I didn't watch Ajax in the glory years, is what I'm saying.
You watched in the Van Gaal years.
I thought this reminded me of Van Basten.
Oh, that goal,
Yeah.
he scored for the Netherlands against the USSR.
Yeah.
In the final. Yeah, okay, fair enough. That wasn't such a spectacular volley. That's a lovely pass from Bannon.
That was a fantastic.
He's got that in his armoury, and he's beautiful at picking out that ball and reach. It was a good finish from that angle as well.
The way he brought the ball down, the pass was so good. He literally just needed to just ever so slightly get a touch on it just to control it. It didn't take a lot of effort. Harry Wilson.
That didn't take a lot of effort.
Well, it was yeah.
Nothing.
It's against Derby. Derby and ain't that good at the back. Harry Wilson going forward.
So I've got to be impartial and whatever, but you can say that, yeah.
I'm allowed to say it as I see it. You've just got to be, not you. Harry Wilson on 29 minutes. Jack Marriott, who's turned out to be a really good player, moved down the right. Nutmegs a sliding defender, which I love. You just kind of want him to. Oh, I just hope he was running past him and go, way! And then he kind of deflect. Oh, it was a bit hard. It's hard to explain. The kind of cross come in. He hits. It was a volley. We'll go with that.
Yeah, he hit it into the floor, didn't he?
It was.
Was that the one he hit into the floor?
It was. Oh, he didn't hit it low, but the hard thing is the concentration to keep the ball down, and he didn't have a lot of time to adjust because the defender was coming in. It was just a smart finish. It was a really quick, instinctive finish, really good. Jack Marriott.
The one thing I got from that opening goal is I didn't realise how big Andre Wisdom was, and I don't mean that in a bad way. When I was used to see him play for Liverpool, he was like a rake. He's really beefed up a bit. He reminded me of the old sprinter John Regis. I know that's a reference that I go over most people's heads.
Yeah, gone.
But he was a big barrel sprinter. He looked massive.
Well, I think
not in a bad way. I'm not saying he's fat. I'm just saying he's put on a lot of muscle.
I think from when he played in the Premier League, I think he got knocked off the ball a lot, and I think there were a lot of wingers that gave him a lot of trouble. And when you look at some of the wingers in the Premiership, they're quite slight anyway. So I think he just beefed up a little bit. Jack Marriott from a Jefferson pass. Wednesday give the ball away. Now, it's hard to kind of put this goal into words because you don't give the ball away. You just don't give the ball away where you are. And then Derby just break on them so fast, they've just almost got no time to react. But they put themselves under pressure. If you lose the ball in your own sort of 40-yard line, you're going to ask for trouble, especially against a Derby team that can attack you so fast.
Yeah.
What, did you not agree?
I just typed in Andre Wisdom on my phone and something completely random come up. So
okay, no Googling while we're recording. Doesn't result in any good things. Wednesday had half chances, but nothing really special. They were restricted to sort of 20-yard efforts and really didn't put Scott Carson under any kind of trouble. They did hit the post, but that was more from a speculative effort. There was a great save from Dawson late on from a long-range shot. I think Derby just went about their business here professionally. They, after going a goal behind, they got back in it. 25,000 at Hillsborough to see this. I mean, Derby had 9 shots, 3 on target. Sheffield Wednesday, as you would expect, being at home, 14 shots, 3 on target. But I don't think even we predicted anything but a Derby win here.
No. Did I put them in my coupon? I can't remember now. I
had them in mine.
I think I did because they went 1-0 down. And I thought it's going to be one of them bloody days, isn't it? But no, they come back. Never lose faith in them. Do you want what the manager said?
I'll have what the manager said.
Sheffield Wednesday, Jos Luhuka said we lost in 5 minutes our lead and it was totally not necessary. We controlled the first 30 minutes of the game. We played very well. We had chances. The 2 goals were too easy. When we look back, every time we make mistakes to give the opponent chances to score, that must be stopped. Derby manager Frank Lampard, a long story, listeners, you don't need to know, told BBC Radio Derby, we weren't quite at our best, but we got a result, which is what we were going to need to do at times. The first 20 minutes were terrible. We were slow, we were passive. Harry's goal settled us down. It gave us a bit more drive in our game. Then we were a bit quicker and we started to create a few chances. They went direct at times. We had to compete, and I was pleased with how we dealt with balls coming into our box. You were?
Really? Stoke 2, QPR 2. Now, Angel Rangel, he's a defender, isn't he?
Yeah, he's probably one of the only footballers in the Football League whose first name rhymes with his surname.
Yeah, he probably is. On 7 minutes, he scores a header, really good header. The power he gets on this from the Eze cross. I'm surprised he didn't have concussion. Because this was harder than most people could shoot, but the cross comes in, and it isn't that the cross had that much power and he just diverts it. He gets so much on the header, but he must have had concussion after this, because the goalie doesn't move, absolutely doesn't move. Butland's just standing there. QPR really attacked Stoke. They really did put Stoke under a lot of pressure early on. Saido Berahino, though, this goal. That's the type of one you expected to hit over, isn't it, as well? Funny that. Right, so Saido Berahino scores. Joe Allen actually gets the assist, although it comes off his arse. This is poor defending from QPR. From the outset, we'll go with that. We have to give them credit for that. They were crap at the back here. However, when the cross comes in, it's headed back across the goal. So the cross comes in, it's headed back across the goal. There's a goal mouth scramble. A QPR player is actually in the goal, on the floor. Joe Allen is in the goal as well. It bounces off Joe Allen outwards, then Berahino from less than a yard smashes it in. But he smashes it in with no aim. It nearly hits Joe Allen, bounce out again. And I wouldn't have put it past him to hit.
That would have been brilliant.
That would have been fantastic. And the thing is, he runs away like he's just scored the winning goal in the World Cup. You've scored from half a yard, mate.
Confidence boosting goals for him, isn't he? You're in the right place at the right time. If you score 20 goals like that a season, you're going to be in the running for the Golden Boot, isn't you? It doesn't matter where you score them from.
He nearly missed it.
We'll go
with that one.
I'm going to big up Burundi star player.
Stoke hit the post from a header. Then Joe Allen, good ball in. Deliberate. I like the deliberate knockdown here.
That was very similar to their first goal.
It was, and it was a good, smart finish from Allen. A little bit further out. I've just do that more, Stoke.
Yeah, be good. Just be good.
Just score goals. Right then, Angel Rangel. Now, did you watch Steve McLaren after this goal?
No, I didn't.
He gives Angel Rangel abuse for not being for getting up that high up the pitch. Right, so Angel Rangel scores again. Very much he's a defender. But this one's a little bit different, as it isn't a cross or anything like that. He's free to run into the box, and he just smashes it to the keeper's right. It goes high, top corner. I would expect the goalkeeper to save this. I'm not going to lie, because it's on the side where he could just put his arm up. Just put your arm up, move your arm. What's wrong with you, Butland? But Angel Rangel scores, and obviously he's really pleased. They cut to McLaren, who's got a face like thunder. He's so angry.
Speaking of angry, are we going to move on to the next highlight of this game, or is that all you've got?
Go on.
Have you got the next highlight?
I haven't, no, actually.
Oh, and Peter Crouch scored. I think Stoke scored 2 goals that were offside, and the second one was Peter Crouch in the last couple of minutes, and he was marginally offside from what you saw.
He was off though.
And at full time, Gary Sky. This is what made me laugh about their highlights coverage. Sky blurred out Gary Rowett's mouth. Because for a good 10 seconds, so whatever he was saying was epic and sweary, but you couldn't see anything. You look at the highlights from the game between Aston Villa and Birmingham. My fiancée, hello Kelly, I know she listens because I force her to. Quality control, mate, quality control. Birmingham conceded their 3rd goal, I think. Spoiler alert, sorry. And the defender's having a conversation, and right up close, he says, I'm gonna mouth it, so you can see. Yeah. You can see, and this is sort of dead air, listeners. He went, and you can see every single word of it, and you think, why aren't you blurring that out? But there you go. Never mind.
They probably just expect it from Gary Rowett. 24,000 at the Bet365 here. To watch a great QPR side against a very average Stoke team. Stoke 14 shots, 3 on target. QPR 8 shots, 4 on target. Didn't really tell the whole story. QPR just look dangerous. They've got some really good attacking players. Eze's really fantastic. I mean, obviously it was a defender that scored both their goals, but they've got some really good attacking players.
Oh, no, that's good, isn't it? I mean, we didn't expect them. They're 8th.
Yeah,
they're only 4 points outside the playoffs. They were doomed after 3 games, according to us.
And I tipped them to go down.
Yeah, I mean, well, I tipped Norwich to go down, so who's the bigger fool?
Current league leaders. Anyway, what did the managers have to say?
Gary Rowett said, that's enough, Yeah. We made a slow start in which we conceded. The right back shouldn't score 1 goal, never mind 2. We didn't do our jobs at all well, and the player in question knows that. The first goal stung us into life and we came back well, hit the post and had 2 or 3 other opportunities. Then, from a fantastic pass by Tom Ince, we got bodies in the box and went 2-1 up after being a goal down. We made another mistake and let them back in again. Their right back ran in behind and it was thrown away in that one moment. We know we have to do better than that. No mention of the offside either, or he's swearing.
Probably doesn't want the fine.
Well, yeah. Speaking of fine, Steve McLaren said, Angel Rangel has been nothing short of a revelation, and not just on the field. What a great lad off it. But I've got to say, I don't know why he was in the box and heading the ball in, because we told him to stay on the halfway line. Goes to show how much he listens to the manager, eh? We were excellent. This is a difficult place to come and a difficult game for us. Stoke have quality, the players, and from the bench. Against the run of play, we conceded, which rocked us a little bit. The response from our team was tremendous. We never stopped, and what pleased me the most was the way we controlled the game.
Make you right, Steve. Swansea 1, Norwich 4. Now I almost tipped this to be a draw. I actually changed my mind right at the last minute because the odds were rubbish. I had Norwich to win, and I'm glad I did, because they didn't just win; they dominated Swansea here, and I think this was I think this was a statement from Daniel Farke's team, because I mean, let's be honest, they're not the team they're not one that you set in the world of light at the moment.
They're a team in transition, aren't they?
But they've got some quality players. I just think Norwich has some better players and are a better team of a collective group. Mike van der Horn, though, his own goal.
That's not his first this season either, is it?
The minute the ball's crossed low and you see Van der Horn leave the ground in slow motion, because he's not very quick at doing anything, you just know he's getting onto this ball and it's going in.
He's like a magnet into it.
Yeah, and the way he was sliding with his legs straight, you just knew the minute he made contact, this was going to divert past the goalkeeper. I think everyone in the stadium knew that, apart from Van der Horn, who decided to slide in. And the best bit about it, there wasn't a Norwich attacker in the box. So he slides in for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, you can
brilliant
see,
goal.
So that's like one poor old Mulder. You'd have thought that was something out of the X-Files. Especially in the second goal as well. My God.
Emmy. Good old Emmy. Norwich pressed high.
Yep.
And I think that was what... Swansea just continued to try and play it from the back. And they had one early on where they nearly gave the ball away. I think it was 3 Norwich players around the... I think it might have actually been Van der Horn. There were 3 players around him, and all he could do was kick out for a throw in. It was just like no one in the camera shot.
Can I rant about this goal for about 25 minutes?
Oh, off you go.
Not 25 minutes, for about 25 seconds. I'll put the same thing. Norwich pressed very high. Mulder, who was in goal instead of Nordfeldt, who was on the bench, a bit of a surprise, played it to Chilena on the edge of the box. Played him into trouble. Buendia got the ball, placed it past him to double the lead. Fair enough. 1. What is Chilena doing that far defensively in his own half to receive the ball on his own 16-yard line, or 16-yard line?
Considering that he's a number 10.
Yeah,
he actually has a shirt number 10.
Playing behind the forwards. What's he doing that deep getting the ball? And 2, it was a goal kick. It wasn't a pass back and he was under pressure.
Nope.
He just could have lumped that halfway. Lump it halfway. Send your men forward so Norwich have got to go back up the field so you're not being pressed deep. Why insist on playing this? Why? I know that the manager likes to play a certain style, but why can't the players take it upon themselves to look at a situation and go, right, we can't play it short because we're going to go straight into trouble. Do the old thing with the 2 hands, push up. Push up. And just whack it. If you're going to dispossess, if you're going to lose the ball, lose it on halfway. Kick it out to halfway so as a throw-in.
It's not
Get it up.
It's not like they've got a 5'8" striker. They've got Oli McBurney up front.
Yeah, but that's not even that.
He's a hold-up type.
Just get it to halfway.
He's a hold-up type.
He might as well have turned around and kicked it into his own net.
Yeah.
Cut out the middleman.
Van der Horn did that earlier on.
Well, yeah, they might as well have done that.
Stiepermann on 37 minutes, cross low and hard across the 6-yard box, but it was kind of the cross was between the defence and the goalkeeper. Mulder couldn't have come for this.
That was in that corridor of uncertainty.
Yeah,
that was a well placed cross by Aarons.
And Aarons actually has played well for the last couple of games. He's turned into a really, really good player. But this Stiepermann just gets on the end of this cross. The one thing I would say, it's a tap in and no one marked him. It's Swansea have been good at the back, but Norwich seem to just have done their homework and knew how to unlock them, which is it's interesting. It's looking good for Norwich. It really is. I don't think they're quite safe yet, but it's looking good.
A couple of spells of administration, they're back in the bottom three.
I think they still would be above Ipswich on points.
I don't wish that on anyone, by the way. That's a joke too far. Sorry.
Daniel James on 41 minutes. Tim Krul special. It's a Tim Krul special. The shot is basically repelled from him. It's like he's got a magnet on his chest. The ball comes near and bounces straight back out to the Swansea on-rushing attacker. The funny thing is the attacker's running towards him even as the shot's been taken because he knows Krul's going to spill it.
Yeah, you have to anticipate these things, don't you?
Especially with Tim Krul on goal. He looks around like to blame someone as Thomas decides to throw things across the
he done a Tim Krul.
He did a Tim Krul. You just dropped your pen. It's like the defenders knew that the attacker knew that he was going to spill this. I mean, yeah, it's only one goal, but it does worry you again. In a tight game, this could have been the game that cost them 3 points. So interesting. Timu Pukki, possibly the signing of the season. Right foot shot from Hernandez. All about Hernandez's trickery though. To kind of set up Pukki here.
No, that was about a turn. Pukki turned and shot. That was lovely.
No, I thought Hernandez is.
Well, you're wrong.
I mean, Pukki. Don't get me wrong. Pukki's deadly. I mean, he's got the best name in football.
Pukki.
And I just think how much did he cost? He was like a free or something.
He was a free. Yeah. I think
he
played in the Eredivisie. Was it?
He did.
For Holland?
18,000 at Liberty Stadium here. 13 shots on target 13 shots for Swansea, 6 on target, 11 for Norwich, 7 on target. This game sent Norwich top of the league again.
Yeah, and good on them for that.
What did Mr. Farker and Potter have to say?
Mr. Potter called it an uncontrollable afternoon. All credit to Norwich, though over the course of the game they deserved to win. They were the better team and attacked and defended well. But I think we contributed a little bit more to their performance than we would like. To improve, you have to have a bit of suffering and to go through setbacks, and it's how we respond as a group and as a team. There's no time for us to feel sorry for ourselves. Mr. Farker said...
Without the accent.
You spoil my fun. There are many other clubs with bigger possibilities. We have such a young squad, we are keeping our feet on the ground. When you are the league leaders, everyone is more greedy to be successful against you. Swansea were highly motivated today, but we had a good answer. I couldn't help myself. Sorry.
I mean, I disagree with what Potter's saying. You know that we may have put ourselves under pressure. You scored an own goal and gave the ball away. I mean, I'm sorry. It's 3 of the goals are avoidable, but Norwich knew how to play against them. Wigan 0, Reading 0.
Just want to go to the managers. No, this actually for a 0-0 wasn't a bad game.
It wasn't a bad game. I've actually got
chances.
I've got more notes for this game than I had for the Forest game.
Yeah, there was more highlights for this 0-0 than there was for some of the games with lots of goals in.
There was a save early on. It was probably going over, but he saved it anyway. There was a. I'm getting a bit bored now. I actually wrote that in my notes. All the good plays in the build-up from both teams. So a lot of the end product wasn't there. And I think when you look at both these teams, one thing they're both probably missing is decent players up front. I think Nick Powell for Wigan.
What about Will Grigg? He was going to set this league on fire.
He was on the bench. Safe to say Wigan felt unlucky as they had all the decent chances and just not many of them were just massively threatening. There was 9,000 at the DW Stadium, 18 shots to Wigan, 5 on target to 8 and 2. Wigan are just missing that focal point. And I don't think that Paul Cook's found it yet. They got some good players going forwards. I think they have Josh Windass is good, Gary Roberts is good, Nick Powell's good. I just think they are just missing someone who's going to just get the ball in the back of the net or someone who can hold play up.
Will Grigg.
It's not going to be Will Grigg. I just don't think it is. I just don't think he's going to be able to. He's going to need another season at this level to adapt. One thing I'd say about Reading, they have got quite a mix of young and old players. I mean, you've got John O'Shea at the back, Chris Gunter. I mean,
their defence has got a combined age of 605. Did you know that? No,
quite possibly.
That hasn't really. Who else did they have? Who else have they got at the back? They've got another really old centre back as well, haven't they?
Liam Moore. No, they've got James Chester.
Was it Paul McShane?
Yeah, it's just they've got They have got some good players. I just wonder if they've got to come good quick. Otherwise, it's going to be an even tougher season than it probably always going to be. What did the manager say?
Paul Cook said it was a fully deserved point. We had the better of the chances and a couple of great opportunities to win the game. After the recent run of defeats that we've had, it's nice to get a point and stop the rot. It was a good, comfortable, clean sheet. I'm always satisfied after a good clean sheet. Unfortunately, we didn't put those chances away. I've never had a clean sheet in football, actually. Paul's as good a goalkeeper I am. Paul Clement...
You do play five-a-side.
Well, true. Paul Clement told BBC Radio Berkshire, it was a committed performance from the players. It was a hard-fought game, a good one for a 0-0. At times we looked better than them. They looked better. Based on our season and how we've been defending, it's a positive because it's a clean sheet away from home.
You wonder about the expectation levels when you're just struggling to get a clean sheet. Anyway, Brentford 1, Middlesbrough 2. I just feel for Brentford since losing their manager. It's been tough. They put up a good showing here against Middlesbrough. They actually scored against Middlesbrough. Not many teams are going to do that this season. Bentley made some great saves in the first half, but Jordan Hugill's goal on 58 minutes. This is Roy the Rovers stuff for him. His story is fantastic. He was released by Middlesbrough. I think he worked part-time while playing. He had got signed by Port Vale. Middlesbrough then signed him back from Port Vale, and this was a scrappy goal. It was all about Howson, who, as he was falling, still knew where the ball was and just tapped it to Hugill, who had basically a tap-in. But the way Hugill celebrates, it's like he's just won the FA Cup, because he's scoring for his spoiled club. He's had such a hard slog to get to this level, and I just thought this was fantastic. And his story is going to be up there with the Jamie Vardy story, I think. Marcus Tavernier. I know it's got that funny accent thing. Headed low into the so the cross comes in. He heads this low into the ground, and it agonisingly, it just goes so slowly past the goalkeeper. I mean, the goalie's making an effort, but yeah, it's just going so slowly past the goalie. I think you'll describe Alan Judge's goal.
Yeah, because you didn't make a note on it, did you?
I didn't. I forgot.
Judge cut into the box from the left, if I remember rightly, and fired in a low drive beyond Randolph. That was only for a consolation goal. That was in the 75th minute, although they had 15 minutes to press for an equaliser. But
Brentford had 17 shots, 9 on target. To Middlesbrough, 11 shots, 4 on target. There were 9,000 people here at Griffin Park.
Brentford have only won once in all competitions since September the 15th.
It's going to be a tough one for them, I think. They were riding high. They've got some good players. You do wonder how many of those players that are currently at Brentford might be wearing claret and blue come January.
You wonder how many of them players will be managed by Thomas Frank come Christmas. But there you go.
Yeah.
Thomas Frank said, we dominated the game, but you have to defend well in crucial situations, and although they were happy to sit back, we needed to open up the game. Middlesbrough are a big team and the favourites to go up, and we matched and were better than them for much of the game. When we have Said, Ben Rama and Ollie Watkins fit, we have enough quality to score goals, but in the meantime we need the rest of the boys to help out. So
we commented that Maupay gets a lot of his goals from inside the 6-yard box. Now, Benrahma and Watkins are obviously the prime source for that. But you commented earlier on, you watched Brentford live, and you said that actually Maupay misses a lot of chances.
He scored a lot, didn't he? How many has he scored? He's still top scorer with 12 in the league.
It takes him a lot to score. And obviously, if you haven't got Benrahma and Watkins, who are both dangerous, you are going to struggle to create those chances. And when Maupay needs 2 or 3 to score, I think they just need to get them back fit.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. The interesting thing I saw from this game is that Thomas Frank has the same initials that I do.
He does.
Quite interesting when I was watching that game. Tony Pulis. We want to talk about Tony Pulis. This is a very difficult place to come. It's a very tight ground, and they move the ball around really well. I think there's 3 in there if you want to go to the misses. They are a good side, so this is a very good win for us. I've been here a lot, and it's not a ground you look forward to playing at under the lights, so it's very pleasing that we came and did a very tight professional job. I'm going to stop there.
Villa 4, Birmingham 2. Possibly... If Sky need justification for why they need to pay more money for the highlights, this derby, right? Did you watch this game?
I actually fell asleep. I thought that was quite dull.
Really?
Yeah, and I ended up watching Moldova against Barry Town in the Nations League because that's far more exciting.
4-2 for Villa. The atmosphere in this stadium for. Have you got the attendance?
The second City derby. The attendance was 41,200
for a second tier game. Right?
Yeah, probably bigger than some of the attendances in the Premier League.
Was bigger than some of the attendances in the Premier League. It was bigger than some of the attendances in the Spanish League, and the atmosphere was fantastic. This game was electric. I think Villa have obviously got a fan in charge, and I think this added a little bit of spice. They've got some players that are actually, again, Villa fans in Grealish, and this game it epitomises why the Championship is so good, because you just don't see this in any other top flight league across Europe. I would say this has more atmosphere than most of the group stage Champions League games.
Yeah, I'd imagine there's quite a few Nation League games out there that had better atmosphere. I mean, Liechtenstein against Armenia.
Andorra, as you seem to like Andorra at the minute. But I mean, this game was just fantastic. And to be honest, although Villa won 4-2, this game could quite easily have gone either way. Jukovic scores a great header on 28 minutes.
What about a header?
It was.
That wasn't.
It was.
That was not a header. I bet you 50 quid that weren't a header.
What was it then?
That was a cross that come across and he sort of side-footed it in from an angle through the legs of Tammy Abraham.
I'm just used to saying Jukovic header. Bristol City then... Oh, not Bristol City. Birmingham City then hit the post from Evans sliding in. Kodja then Kodja then scores in 37 minutes. He manages to chest the ball in the area, bring it down, and absolutely sent Villa Park crazy.
Into raptures.
It was... I mean, even watching it on telly, you could see the atmosphere. And it was at this point I put, what other league in the world can generate an atmosphere like this? I would say, I watched a lot of Spanish football last season, and I'd say even the Clásico didn't have an atmosphere like this, because you had two sets of fans. And when you obviously watch most of the Ligue 1, the Serie A, you don't get a big away following. It's just not a cultural thing for...
What was that game where one away fan turned up? That was in Italy, wasn't it? A few years ago, yeah. One away fan turned up watch the game.
In Spain, there's obviously games where that happens, where you've got Las Palmas in the Canary Islands. Obviously, Barcelona go over there to play. Barcelona not going to drag too many fans all the way to the Canary Islands on a plane. So it's not traditional for in these leagues to bring an away following, but that really makes a difference. I mean, some of the Sky a couple of times had to comment on the language coming from the fans, which I thought was quite funny. 2 minutes later, though, Jack Grealish on 39 minutes.
This goal, little fact for you, Paul, was the first header scored below sea level in the Championship this season.
Really?
That was, yeah.
Teasing ball, great header at the far post. And then just the celebrations from Grealish was just...
I think that's a bit much of a commentator to say that's the greatest moment of his life.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's done more.
I think Bristol City, though, did you see the defenders? They were not happy with each other with the poor marking. I can't remember what defender it was. I think it might have been Colin, but he goes bananas. He goes absolutely skits.
That's the one I'm talking about earlier with the old mouth. And you've caught Sky Sports disease because it's Birmingham City, not Bristol City defenders.
Every time.
Although the Bristol City defenders are quite poor at the minute as well.
Yeah, rubbish as well. Tammy Abraham then scores on 51 minutes, and I just put, this is clumsy. You can't argue with this penalty.
No, definitely not. Lovely penalty because
posted in.
That is as if he played it like that as well. You can see the way he opened up his body.
Even if Lee Camp goes the right way, he's not getting.
Well, they just played off the post, didn't they?
Yeah.
No one saves them.
Pedersen then makes it 3-2 though on 57 minutes.
That was a good one. That was a volley, weren't it?
That was. They lose the ball on halfway. Birmingham break down the left, cross it in. It was a controlled volley. It was like he didn't need to have a lot of power on it because he knew it was going to have power generated from the cross. Really good goal. Now the Scottish Cafu, Alan Hutton, runs from the halfway line. Bearing in mind he is a defender,
and he's about 50.
Yep. He runs from the halfway line. Now, obviously, you think of goals from the halfway line, you think of maybe Pele, Maradona, George Weah.
Beckham.
I'm
not-
talking
that's not
running from
saying.
the half. I'm talking running.
Naeem, of course. We're forgetting about Naeem from the halfway line.
Of all the goals that have involved the halfway line, he just weren't very. He wasn't challenged. Let's be honest.
No.
He basically just runs in the dead straight line, and now until he gets the 18-yard box.
I'm taking the gloss off a wonderful goal, a wonderful moment for someone who hasn't scored that many goals in his career.
If no one tackles me, I'm going to run to the 18
You're not running
box.
anywhere, mate. You grow up.
I would score, but 86 minutes sends Villa Park crazy. 12 shots to Villa, 5 on target, 10 to Birmingham. The only real thing to note that I thought this was good, and it was a derby. 20 fouls to Birmingham.
Hasn't he scored 7 goals in his career?
I know, but that was pretty good. Did you have what the manager said?
I did, and so I was looking to see how many goals Alan Hutton had scored. All the notes are on my phone. Dean Smith said it was a great result, but not such a good performance. It's a game I wasn't enjoying because for 30 minutes we didn't play very well, but I got a chance to savour the atmosphere in the end. It was a fantastic crowd and we sent a lot of people home happy, and it'll make a lot of my family and friends happy too. Make him happy, he's probably a nice little win bonus. Birmingham's manager Gary Monk said for the first 35 minutes we were excellent, but for a lick of paint, I think that was Che Adams' header that you alluded to, wasn't it? We could have had 2, but from then on we didn't show that toughness we've been used to. In the last 3 games we've come away from that toughness a bit. It's not been as dogged and we got punished for it. We need to get back to that toughness. There are no excuses. We knew what our limitations were in the summer.
Fantastic game of football.
Yep, I can't argue that.
Absolutely fantastic game of football, and I'm pleased Sky put this on the telly, advertised as well, not on the red button, because I think this game, they knew this game was always going to be a cracker. So in terms of where that leaves us, Norwich City are sitting top, not quite safe yet. They're on 36 points after 18 games played. Middlesbrough are sitting second on 34 points, so 2 points behind them. Then come Leeds on 33 points, they're third. West Brom are fourth on 31 points. Also on 31 points is Sheffield United and Derby, and they take up the rest of the playoff places. Forest are a point behind the fourth, fifth, and sixth place teams on 30 points. A little bit of a gap, a couple of points between them and Villa, and also level on points of Villa or QPR, which is interesting because I think no one would have expected them to be there. Sitting rock bottom on 11 points is Ipswich Town. Hull City are sitting on 16th. Hull City are sitting at 23rd on 16 points. Then we've got a couple of teams on 17 points. So Bolton Wanderers are 22nd, make up the third relegation spot. Millwall are also on 17 points, so are Reading. Rotherham are on 19 points, just above them. So interesting to see how the table is now starting to take shape after 18 games. We've still got a lot of points to play for, and it's consistency that gets you promoted. Unfortunately, it's also consistency that Ipswich is showing that gets you relegated. In terms of goal scoring stats, Moape still sits on 12 goals, Graben's on 10, Jukovic is on 10, Pukki's on 10, Billy Sharp's on 10, then it's Dwight Gale and Jay Rodriguez on 9 apiece. So again, it's no surprise that you look at the teams there. I think most of them, most of those players, they're in teams that are on an upward trajectory, apart from Moape, who's sitting top, which is interesting. So Thomas,
yes, Paul.
What was your game of the weekend? If you were to say to someone, this is a good advert for the Championship, what game would you advise them to watch?
Funnily enough, I mean, I'll leave an open goal for you with your one.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Rotherham 2, Sheffield United 2.
That was good. If you were going to pick Villa Birmingham, that's the one I was going to pick.
Yeah.
So
because I knew that's going to be one or the other, so I thought, because that's just fantastic. Because Sheffield United top, well, they were top or near enough top. Everybody expected them to do the job over Rotherham, who were the plucky underdogs, and Rotherham were unlucky not to win. So I'll go for that for sheer excitement as well, and the drama of them scoring in 90+2 through Proctor. Lovely game of football.
Absolutely, I'm going to go for Villa Birmingham. I think this shows why these teams think they're worth more money, and I think that I'd agree with them. I think this game had everything. I think it's had passion, excitement, it had fans that are part of the club. I think it was too. I think this game reversed fixture. It's still a sellout at St Andrews Trillion whatever stadium.
St Andrews Trillion Trophy.
Yeah. I think that this game had everything. Also, if you want to sit down to someone and say, look, Championship football, it isn't the wilderness. You show them this game, and I think that they really understand them. So, what was your goal of the weekend?
This is a tough one again because there's actually quite a few you could pick from. I could say Van der Hoorn's own goal again to annoy you, or Saido Berahino's header. Funnily enough, because I didn't expect it to be honest, bit of a left field choice. I'm going to go for Angel Rangel's header.
Yeah.
Considering he's a right back who's been suffering from a lot of injuries, for him to get that far up the field is an achievement. But for a right back to score a bullet header, absolutely fantastic. I might be stealing your thunder a little bit, and if I am, I apologise. But if it wasn't going to be that one, I would probably say it was going to be Basham with his header off his own player heading it onto him. Lovely goal.
I was actually going to go for Hernandez, his header.
Oh yeah, the looper.
For Saïs's ball in, because I think that ball in is fantastic, and I think that header top corner. I think there's no surprise that Leeds win because the two players that they've had out are coming back into form.
Honourable mention as well for the goal that Beavers scored. Not the goal itself, that was a nice little header. The cross from Williams was sublime.
Was good.
Absolutely sublime.
Really good. What was your shock of the weekend?
The way Norwich went to Liberty and absolutely destroyed them 4-1. I mean, on paper, you'd expect Norwich to go there and get a result, but to tear them apart 4-1 in the manner they did, I didn't expect that one little bit. So I'll go for that.
This is a tough one for me because I actually my bets did not go well at the weekend. I'm not going to lie. I only do an acca, but I picked all the teams that didn't win. I actually thought Blackburn would give a better showing against Preston North End.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that I expected this game to be a draw, so I didn't expect Blackburn to win or anything like that. I just think Blackburn are a team that've got a lot going for them, and I think I was quite surprised how they capitulated against Preston in the end. And we've both said how good Preston are. I just thought that Blackburn had more about them, so that's definitely my shock of the weekend. So that concludes part 3. In part 4, we'll be reviewing Tuesday night's 6 games, Wednesday night's 6 games, and talking everything that's going to happen after that. Speak to you in part 4. Welcome back to part 4, and now we're going to be looking at Tuesday night's 6 games, and we're going to be looking at Wednesday night's 6 games. You have your hand up.
Yes, bit of breaking news. Thankfully, not bad breaking news, but quite concerning. We are recording Monday evening. It is around 8 o'clock as we're recording. There's meant to be a Premier League game between Burnley and Newcastle, which has been put back half an hour because the referee's assessor, Eddie Wolstenholme, has collapsed in the tunnel and there's a bit of a medical emergency. So he's gone to hospital conscious, so hopefully he makes a full recovery. But still, talk about referees earlier on. He's the referee's assessor, which I think he was a referee, weren't he, in the past?
Yeah, because they have to retire at a certain age, don't they?
Yeah, so hopefully, I know it's got nothing to do with the Championship, but as a football and family, we hope he makes a speedy recovery.
Absolutely. So on Tuesday night, so just to let you listeners know that we'll be reviewing Tuesday night's fixtures. We'll be recording Wednesday, and then we'll be reviewing Wednesday's fixtures when we record next week. So you will get a midweek podcast this week, a bonus episode, which will have these 6 games in, starting with Brentford against Sheffield United. So, where's your money on in your? Because I know you'll bet on these games. Where's your money going to be out on this one?
I'd bet on two snails on a concrete slab, mate. Got to be Sheffield United, isn't it, on current form? Brentford have had a bad patch. They lost 2-1 obviously against Middlesbrough at the weekend, making it 1 win in their last 11 league games. Yet they've only lost 2 at Griffin Park, and
I fancy a draw for this one because I don't think Sheffield United are great away from home.
I don't know. They've got 7 points from their last 5 away league games. They're going for a bad patch themselves, sitting at a disappointing 16th in the 5-game form table, having won 1, drew 3 and lost 1. So if it's a tight game, which Brentford are capable of doing because they're quite sound, didn't you really? I know they're not the best of form, but they're quite sound regularly. Sheffield United's defeats this season, 4 of their 5, so 80% of their defeats this season in the Championship have come by a 1-goal margin.
I do fancy a Brentford away win here. Sorry. No, I don't. I fancy a draw. It's late. Oh, God. I fancy a draw here. I do. I think this is definitely going as a draw for me. I think that'll be a good result for Sheffield United. I think they'd be happy with a point away from home. Hull at home to Norwich.
Got to give a Norwich.
Norwich win. I can't see how this is going to be anything but a Norwich win. Norwich are going to win, and they're probably going to win big, actually. I'd say Hull can't defend for toffee, and Norwich just seem to find a way to win. And once they get one, they tend to be a bit ruthless at the minute. So I think Norwich definitely.
A little tidbit here to make it to pad it out a bit more. Norwich have now scored exactly 4 goals in their last 3 fixtures, contributing to an away day average of exactly 2 goals per game. So get on it. 2-0 win for Norwich.
Yep, absolutely. Leeds at home to Reading. Do you know, you get these fixtures where you get these teams that are really struggling, and it's like a boxer punch drunk, and you see another haymaker coming. And I just think for Reading, this is going to be another one. I think this is going to be a Leeds win here. I can't see Reading getting anything from this at all.
No, I mean, Reading done very well to get their 2nd clean sheet of the season on Saturday. If they keep a clean sheet here, be nothing short of miraculous.
They played 7 at the back. They're not going to keep a clean sheet.
No, but in saying that, Reading are unbeaten against Leeds in their last 3 league fixtures, including a 1-0 win away in this corresponding fixture last season. So cases can be made, but you'd be
it's going to be Leeds.
You'd be a loon if you thought Reading could go to Elland Road and win.
Rotherham against QPR, 2 of the teams that I found the hardest to back for and against this season. I fancy a Rotherham win here, and I only fancy Rotherham winners because I think they've played well. I think this might just be one game a little bit too far for QPR's run they've been on.
We mention, sorry to talk over you, mate, but we talk about Rotherham's terrible away form. Their home form, if you look into last season, they've only lost 1 of their last 16 at the New York Stadium. 1-10, drew 5, lost 1. That included 7 clean sheets and finding the back of the net in all but 1 of those fixtures with a positive goal difference of plus 12. While QPR, their head-to-head, QPR in their last 6 have won 4, drewn 1, not even a word, I'll make it up now, drewn 1, lost 1. The last time Rotherham beat them was in 2016 when they beat them 1-0. But I am with you, looking at the odds as well, because you know I'm a gambling man, you're a gambling man yourself, I encourage you. Rotherham are 12-5.
That's good.
It's good. Money, 2 and a bit to 1. So yeah, I mean, even going back as well, because I've only got the odds up on my page. If you were to do an ACCA, what we said so far, Sheffield United?
No, draw.
You said draw.
Norwich, Leeds, Rotherham.
So far, that fourfold would give you 34.6 to 1 with the company that support that back Stoke financially.
Preston against Middlesbrough.
This is my game of the day.
Do you think so?
This one be a wonderful game, as I said to you off air just before we started recording this last part. Preston, in their 9 home games, have scored 22 goals. Conceded 15, granted, but they've scored 22 goals. Middlesbrough have conceded 6 away goals in their 9 games, only scored 11. So this is a real case of attack versus defence, and Middlesbrough going forward have got more than Preston, so it's a case of whether Preston can break down Middlesbrough or if Middlesbrough can outscore Preston.
I'm having a draw on this one.
Yeah, that'd be the most realistic bet.
I'm having a draw on this because I actually think it'll be I think it'll be a score draw, but I do think it'll be a draw.
Interesting little side bit as well. If you bet on first goal scorers, which you don't, but if you were to, case of the X, get your money on Jordan Hugill because he comes from Preston.
He did. Yeah, I don't bet on first goal scorers because I can't work how to on my app.
I can teach you.
So I'm going for a draw on that one. Where are you going?
Looking at the stats, I really like Preston, and that wouldn't surprise me if they got a result against Borough. One stat that may sway me, apart from Jordan Hugill going against his old team, and he's in scoring form recently as well. Three goals in his last 2 games. In managerial head-to-heads, Tony Pulis has won 3 of his last 4 matches against an Alex Neil-led side by a single goal margin.
Interesting. Sheffield Wednesday against Bolton. Bolton.
Who?
Sheffield Wednesday against Bolton. I look at it.
You're tired, mate. Sorry.
I just look at it, and it's a game that I don't want to watch.
Well, don't. You've got you've got the choice.
I can't work out the red button.
You can't make me watch it.
Well, I can't even predict a winner. I just think Sheffield Wednesday are rubbish. Bolton haven't scored a lot of goals. Probably a draw.
Let me just say, I used to say this to people when I worked at the bookies. I'm not going to say the name of the bookies because they're crooks.
All bookies are crooks.
Yeah, but these ones...
Yeah, go on. Next.
Especially. The magic sign for you older listeners. What I used to say to people when they come in, when they back 2016 accumulators, only because they're on the coupon, mate, doesn't mean you have to have a bet on it.
Very true.
Ignore it. For this podcast, unfortunately, we have to have an opinion. Well, I say unfortunately. We have to put our neck on the line for games we don't really have a feeling for.
Just out of interest, where are both these teams in the form table?
Sheffield Wednesday are bottom.
Yep.
And Bolton the third bottom.
See, I told you.
So this one could either be 0-0, or like 6-6 or whatever.
It could be 6-6. They're not going to score. This is a draw.
Looking at this, I'm just looking at the rundown of notes for this game. Joss Luhuke, our friend, hello, he admitted he's none the wiser on how long he's going to have left. Which is not always a good thing. It's not always a good thing. Hopefully, he means as a manager and not in life in general. He's not really elaborated on that.
They've sent me a P45. Not sure it's going to arrive.
But Bolton have not won away from home since August, having drawn 4 and lost 3, and having only scored 4 away goals this season, and they have conceded double the amount they've scored. So, if Sheffield Wednesday want to get back on track, if they can't do it against Bolton at home, then Luhuke will probably be looking for another job.
Yep.
He was a bit of a left field appointment to begin with. Can't really say
he had a good 5-6 games. It's all gone downhill from there.
It's gone downhill from there. But then where does Sheffield Wednesday go after that? I don't know. That's one to ask when it happens, because it is going to happen at some point. If they can't get a result against Bolton, no offence to Bolton, but
away
Bolton
from
home, free fall.
Bolton away from home, and that's
if they can't get a result at Hillsborough, then he's going to be gone. We don't want to encourage managers getting sacked or resigning. We don't want people losing.
Unfortunately, it's the reality of
this way they are, having won none of their last 6 at the very least, because we only got the last 6 games in front of us. 1 point out of a possible 18. Just not good enough for the players they've got at their disposal.
It's rubbish. So we're going to move on to the Wednesday games, and the Wednesday games actually do look like there's some crackers here. I think the one standout game. What game are you going to watch on the red button?
I'm going to watch Millwall against Birmingham on the red button now.
No.
Stupid for
the first 6 Tuesday night. Which game are you going to watch? You've already said you're going to watch Preston Middlesbrough, haven't you?
Yes. Oh, sorry. On about Tuesday. Sorry. Yeah. I'd watch Preston Middlesbrough.
I'm gonna go Brentford Sheffield United, because I think that's going to be one of the better games. Sheffield United can play a bit, and I think that's going to be a good game. So Wednesday, Millwall against Birmingham. I'm going Birmingham. Just where are Millwall in the form table?
Millwall are just below mid-table. Although their goals actually, they've won 2, drawn 1, lost 3, and they're like less than mid-table. They've scored 10 and conceded 11. They're an exciting team. You never thought you'd say that about Millwall. No offence to Millwall fans out there, please don't.
No, I've watched them. They're not an exciting team.
But they score goals.
Yeah.
They concede them as well, granted. But they are, like, as far as that goes, some of the teams at the bottom can't score for loving the money. Birmingham on the form table as well. Depends how much that defeat against Villa's taken out of them. They've not had I'm saying they've not had a lot of time to recover. Sorry, I'm getting confused. That's Wednesday now, not Tuesday.
They would have played a day earlier. Millwall played on Saturday.
Yeah. So
that will come into it.
There is that. Millwall back-to-back home games as well, but they only drew against Bolton and were...
The one difference that Birmingham have got that Millwall haven't is Jukovic. They've got a focal point. They've got someone who can score goals. And I just think Millwall, although they've scored a lot of goals, their goals have come across... I can't see past a Birmingham win here.
No, I totally agree, although... on the head-to-head, we used to be big on head-to-heads, but because of my children, I don't get enough time to research these days, but we'll go back to it today, because I locked them in the cellar. No, I didn't really. The sides have played each other 14 times at championship level before, and Birmingham have come out on top, winning 7. Millwall, though, have won the last 3 head-to-head meetings, keeping clean sheets in all 3, including their most recent clash, a 2-0 win at the Den. So... Recent history goes in Millwall's favour, but as far as the table goes and the way the season's panned out, you've got to say Birmingham, ain't you, really?
This is probably the hardest one to predict, not just because you're a Forest fan. Villa against Forest. Ooh. This is a tough one.
I can't remember what happened the last time we played them at Villa Park. I remember drawing 2-2, but I can't remember.
I'm going to go with a draw. I think I for the same reason what you just said about Birmingham. I think that win would have taken a lot out of Villa. Consistency has been so they've struggled with. I think Karanka's going to go and set up, and I think you're going to be hard to beat. I don't see goals in this.
No, hopefully not. I'd happily take a 0-0 if you give it to me.
I was going to say I would imagine you'd be happy with that if that was the case.
Forest have got the joint lowest losing tally so far this season, along with Middlesbrough, who only haven't lost 2 of their 18. That's wonderful, although they've drawn 8, so that's not so wonderful, but there you go. Sorry, they've drawn 9. Sorry, they've drawn half their games. One stat that makes me laugh looking at this is Forest are the worst disciplined side in the division with 44 yellow cards.
All from Ben Watson.
Or Ben Watson and Jack Colback, 22 a pit. No, that would be impossible. But no, that wouldn't surprise me if they were in the high majority. I actually saw that they're looking to offload Ben Watson in January. I don't know who'd want to take him. He's a good player still, but getting on a bit now. Taylor, 2 strikers, in my opinion. Tammy Abraham is on form for Aston Villa. Scored 2 of his side's last 3 at home, and Lewis Graben has scored 7 in his last 8.
I haven't seen. Villa. One thing we've said about Villa is they're using their width and they're getting crosses into the box. Now that could come as a problem.
That could do. Oh yeah.
Because that's been the one thing that's troubled Forest this season. But the one thing you can't say is Karanka will know how to set his team up to defend. I think here.
Oh yeah, no, we'll play 4 at the back, 2 holding midfielders. Central midfielder, 2 offensive wingers.
Yeah, Lewis Graben up front.
Whatever's left up front, yeah.
So
I'll go for a draw, and I'd be happy as a Forest fan to go to Villa Park and get a draw. I'd rather think we can go and nick it. We've got the possibility to. At the same time, they've got the possibility to turn us over 2 or 3-0 if they can, or if they want to.
It's definitely going to
be.
This will be the game I watch. I know you're going to watch it as well. We try to watch different ones. I just think this will be the game to watch.
Well, we'll be recording the podcast at the same time, won't we? So
hopefully get it in a little bit before then. Ipswich Town against Bristol City. I think Ipswich Town will get their first win under Paul Lambert here.
Ooh.
Because I don't think Bristol City have played very well. I also don't think Bristol City, they're looking shaky at the back. They have done all season. And I think this will be the one game where I think Ipswich Town will keep a clean sheet.
I can't argue with anything you've said. I'm just reading through my notes for this.
Ipswich are due a win. Bristol are just not playing well. I hope they're playing a nice third kit.
No, they're playing their white, unfortunately.
They will, yeah.
Bristol City have only won one of their last 8 head-to-head meetings against Ipswich. So recent history is in Ipswich's favour. You know what? I think Ipswich could win this.
Yeah,
the way they played in the last 3 games, it seems strange considering they lost against West Brom. West Brom are a better quality side than Bristol City. Bristol City are very much on a downer. They're down the bottom annals of the recent form table, having lost 4 of their last 6. Yeah, that'd be good to see Paul Lambert get his first win on the board. 4 games in. The sooner he gets his first on the board, I think the rest will come. I'm not saying they're going to go the rest of the season unbeaten or anything, but they just need to win fast, don't they?
Yeah, I can just see this is good. This has got the makings of an Ipswich win. Swansea City against West Brom. What would have been a Premier League clash last season. I can't see past a West Brom win here.
Really?
Yeah, Swansea were rubbish against Norwich, and I think West Brom offensively have got the capabilities to be better than Norwich at going up front. And I know that sounds silly considering West Brom are not top of the league, Norwich are. I just think West Brom have got some really good offensive players. Swansea are shaky at the back. The problem is West Brom have also got the capacity to go here and not turn up. So, but I do think West Brom I just think they're going to win this.
Got a couple of interesting stats here, Paul.
Go on.
So this for every single game so far. West Bromwich Albion have They haven't kept a clean sheet away from home this season.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
And they've conceded exactly one goal in 6 of their 9 Championship away games so far. So you'd fancy Swansea to score a goal in this one. Swansea, on the other hand, have conceded 11 goals at the Liberty Stadium. How many of them have come in the first half of games?
All of them.
8.
Yeah.
So, as the game go on, they get defensively stronger, which is rare, which is very rare. So West Brom, if they lead at half time, you'd imagine they're going to win basically. This one's going to be a lot tighter than you give it credit for. I think Swansea might get back on track and manage to squeak a draw here.
Ooh. Wigan against Blackburn. 2 teams that have been rubbish recently.
Can I say what you said about the Tuesday game?
Go on.
I don't want to watch this.
I don't want to watch it. I just think Blackburn have got to score a few goals eventually. I think it's against Wigan. I think Blackburn win.
I'm just thinking, looking at the fixtures, I'm going to have to cancel my fiance's recordings of Coronation Street and EastEnders and stuff, so I can record 3 of these games at the same time whilst watching another one. Because I have to watch it back over
the wedding might not be happening if he does that.
Got till May to work my magic. Hello, Kelly, if you're listening. This is a bit of a local derby as well, isn't it? Wigan have
doesn't mean to say anyone will come and watch it.
If it was rugby, they'd be selling out, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Wigan are unbeaten in their 9 home matches against Blackburn. Wigan haven't won any of their last 5 league games though, but they've only lost 1 at home. Blackburn have out of their 9 away games drawn 3, won 3, lost 3. Goal difference of -5. Very symmetrical from Blackburn Rovers.
Nice and consistent, we'd like to see.
Blackburn have been winning at half time in each of their last 3 away wins this season, the joint highest in the league. And Tony Mowbray's unbeaten in managerial head-to-heads with Paul Cook. 1-2, drew 2. So Blackburn have got the quality to do Wigan here, and it wouldn't surprise me if they got back on track with a sneaky, tight 1-0 win.
Stoke against Derby. And judging by the kick-off time, it's at 8 o'clock. There's likelihood that this is the game that's on Sky.
All games at the Bet365 kick off at 8 o'clock, don't they?
Yeah, weird that.
Like games at Scunthorpe kick off at 7:30. I've never worked out why. Anyone out there who knows, text at Championship TA1.
Or tweet us at Championship TA1.
Not text.
You
know what I meant.
Stoke against Derby. I think this has got the ability to be a good game because there's a lot of good talent on show.
I've done a Tim Krul and dropped my pen again.
You have. Stoke against Derby. I am going for a draw. Yeah,
I said it before you because I knew that's what you were going to say.
Stoke aren't going to beat Derby, but I think Derby have been on a bit of a run. Things could possibly bring their bit of a run to an end, but it'll still be a good game, and it'll be the type of game we want to see. So that concludes this episode of the Championship Talk podcast. I want to thank everyone that's listened because we reached a milestone of downloads. When we set out to do the podcast, we didn't think anyone would listen to us, let alone thousands of people. So I want to say a big thank you to everyone that's downloaded us and listened to us. I want to thank you everyone that's that has put up with some of the shaky audio quality. We are doing our very best to make sure that that's improved upon as we move forward. When we do record on Skype, there are issues with cutouts and things like that, so thank you to everyone that persevered and listened to the last episode. We know that the audio quality wasn't good. We are taking feedback on board. We are going to try and keep the episodes to under 90 minutes if possible, because we know that people listen to other podcasts as well. So again, thank you everyone for the kind feedback and the reviews on iTunes, because I think, as I say, we didn't think anyone would listen to us. And actually, we've had so many people listen to us. It really, gives us that motivation to carry on. I think you've got anything to add to that?
Just want to say thank you very much for putting up with us. To be perfectly honest with you, there have been times where we've been borderline libelous or offensive. I apologise to all Derby fans out there. I love every team in the Championship equally. Although obviously a little bit more for Forest because they're my club. But thank you all for your lovely positive feedback and for recommending to your friends. I've had a couple of messages personally as well from people saying very nice things. I've not shared with Paul because I've not been too complimentary about him. Don't want to make him upset. But it is an absolute pleasure to be able to talk to you about all things Championship and put this marvellous league out there. From my personal point of view, I'm a bit peed off that Forest have been in the Championship for the last seemingly 56 years. But it's good to be able to pass this on to Paul and hopefully get a few more of you out there more interested in a league that is probably one of the most competitive in Europe.
Absolutely. So as always, the best way, if you do want to support the show, is to leave us a review on iTunes, because that does appear to be people's platform of choice to download us. So obviously the more ratings we get, the more people can view the podcast, the more downloads we get, the more motivation it has for us to get more content out there. Also, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Championship TA1. As always, we do love to have some feedback on there, and obviously we do share a few bits as we're watching the fixtures and as we're making our notes. And I want to say thank you to everyone for listening to this episode. I'm Paul, and I want to say I will speak to you all probably Wednesday, and that's goodbye from me.
And I'm Thomas, as Paul was going to introduce himself at the end of the podcast as well as the beginning. Happy watching football over the next couple of days, and we look forward to going through it again with you on Wednesday.
Have a good evening, everyone. Goodbye.